Oh, okay. Bang, big. Is this thing on? Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Heinz Report, and we are back right now for another installment of the transcript reading, and we're reaching its finale. Shout out to everyone that has been with us all the way to where we are right now. We are going through what we're going to do on this particular stream is basically go through Grace Jabbari's redirect exam, see what was being said and how it lines up with the media coverage. And after going through Grace Jabbari's exam, we're also going to go through NYPD's data analyst, Ryan Strick, to see what was going on there. I personally don't know why he was here, but his testimony was on the his testimony was actually on the 4th of December 2023. So he was the first witness being called up. And I believe it's by, if I'm not mistaken, it will be by the prosecution. So I have some intrigue as to why that was the case and what they basically understood um from that. But yeah, shout out to everyone that's on the stream. I'm just gonna go straight to the chat and just say hello to Shahid. What's good? How are you doing, Shahid? Let me just try and get this thing going because you're not popping up for some reason on my screen. I can read your chat, but for me to highlight it, you're not popping up. I don't know what's going on there. Let me try and refresh this. Okay, it's not coming. Okay, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I hope you are well, Shahid. Welcome back to the stream. I'm happy to see you once again. But yeah, so just to give a quick recap to all those that were not in the previous stream, we basically established a couple of things, and I'm gonna give a massive recap to kind of bring this case to where it's at right now. So I went on Grace's direct examination. She had testified that basically Jonathan was being there was the prosecution put together a case that there was underlying patterns of abuse that led up to this incident. They weren't really specific as to whether physical abuse had occurred. Grace did not even say anything about physical abuse of occurring, etc. I haven't read anything to suggest that there was um talk declining that. I can speculate and say maybe because there is an ongoing investigation in the UK. Not sure. I think that's closed, but not sure if it is. I've been reading. I have looked everywhere actively for this. Could not find anything to do with it being closed or being open. To be quite fair, this country is not really that transparent. I live in the UK, so it's not really transparent on the reporting cases like this. But the point is there is nothing that I've read that would reflect, or sorry, that would give context to what exactly was the reason why they couldn't just outright say, hey, physical abuse happened at this instance or at this instance, etc., or if there was even any evidence of that. Because we know that there were text messages that were put to one side, but those were text messages that was deemed to be etc. But in terms of testimony, for example, bringing that testimony out, I am not sure if there was any kind of ban on that. Again, I'm not a lawyer or a doctor or anything like that. Anything like that. I'm just lawyer adjacent who just talks about cases, etc. So, but the point is, going through all of this, she had testified to June 22nd at the Glastonbury festival, where she had alleged that Majors was basically psychologically abusing her, basically stopping her from hanging with her friends, isolating her from her friends. She had to go to the gas station to get signal to talk to him, and he was basically saying that she was basically saying that he wasn't appreciative of her being with her friends, etc. But she actually ended up going, but she actually ended up staying for the whole Glastonbury anyway, even though she said that she didn't do that. She actually went home early because of majors. Nonetheless, she said that. However, on the last stream, which you can go watch on the replay, is part 13. On the last stream, we discovered that Majors had actually invited her friends all the way to the Lower East Side, which Shaid, thank you so much for providing this context. The Lower East Side, put him up in the Lower East Side hotel, which the Lower East Side is a more affluent area compared to the Upper East Side of New York. So he had put her up her friends. According to the Grace admitted to this, so it's actually in the transcript that we read. He had done all of that. I mean, what an abuser he is to how could he do that to her friends and to her friends and Grace? How dare he do put them up in the hotel in the Lower East Side, and as well buy tickets for them to go to the Mariah Carey concert? How dare he? How dare he allow Grace to have any fun? What an abuser he is. That's just insane to me. How he can possibly do that to that poor woman. Damn. I'm clearly angry, as you can tell on this stream, because clearly this is very different from what Grace was alleging as abuse earlier. Because what he did was, in my opinion, it seemed to be Grace was having fun. Being told, oh, go out, so don't be at Glastonbury. I'd rather have you be at Mariah Carey concert because I like Mariah Carey, etc. So that's incredibly abusive to me. He didn't actually say he didn't actually say like Mariah Carey. Just ignore me. But anyway, so that was one of the things. That was one of the things we also learned, that when on the previous we learned on the previous streams that we learned on the previous stream, sorry, that whenever Majors and Grace Jabbari would go out, he would pay for everything, including going out with the friends. Again, such an abuser, like Jesus Christ. How dare he take care of her like that? Like that's so abusive. Guys, that is so abusive. He should have made up, like, can't you see that she could pay for herself? She's an independent woman. I can see how that's abusive. I can really see it, because she said, I found my independence in the end. I can see how that's abusive. So yeah, so that was the other instance of that was coming out on the cross examination that we were going through yesterday. We also as well learn, there unfortunately there was no more context provided in regards on the cross examination in regards to uh well the May, sorry, not the May, this the September text messages outside. Unless my memory is failing me, I don't think it is. I don't think it is, but I did not get any further context uh on the Coretta Scott, because at this point we know that it's public knowledge now, but at this point the text messages did not come in regards to the doctors, etc. That didn't come in yet. So we're most likely gonna learn about that on the redirect. But in regards to what happened, in regards to the text messages, in regards to Coretta Scott, etc., we learn on the we learn on the cross exam. Yes, we did learn about that. There was context to it, that it was there wasn't enough needle moving context, in my opinion, because we only learned that Grace was all over the place in describing what the course of events was. Because at one minute, the way I understood it was, at one minute she had described being near Majors, the other minute she was in the closet while Majors was throwing all these things to the floor, etc. So that's the only context around that. In regards to the recording, we only learn, I think, don't want to no, I don't want to get this wrong, but I believe Grace had actually said that she was recording because she would send it to her family to let people know what was going on, etc. And he didn't like that because she also sent it to Priya Satyani. He didn't like it, uh which is why on on the 25th, or sorry, the 24th, when they were going when they're going back from the restaurant, or going to the restaurant, sorry, they were um he was not happy with her because he had found out that uh she had been communicating with Priya Satyani in regards to details of their relationships, things like that. So that's what we learned all through cross exam. There was nothing much more contextual to do with the outside of that, to do with it was just trying to get her recollection to see how she performs, and in my opinion, she wasn't really, I mean, it doesn't really show he did anything serious, so to speak. But it showed at least Grace has a propensity to minimize a lot of her actions, which is what I was highlighting a lot in that, etc. So and coming up to this, the most important part of all of this is during yesterday's stream, during the cross exam of yesterday's stream, that when it came to what she was reporting to the prosecutors and the police in regards to what happened, it's like in courtroom, it was a completely different account. We know she had volunteered to the police that Jonathan had attacked her. We know she could have easily told the police I had fainted, but she said, I don't know if I fainted. I don't know. She was saying all of those things as if Majors had done something to her at that moment. Then she volunteered about the fight that happened the night previously, which is why the charges were brought. The reason we learned also why the strangulation charges were also brought, and that was because uh Grace had volunteered to Officer Hansen that Officer Nick Swain, who was asking her. Grace had volunteered that that Jonathan had basically choked her, or put hands on her neck, and that's where Hansen was gesturing to her neck, etc. On the body cam video that we went through on, I think it was part 3 or 4. No, that would be part six of this run. So it's been a wild ride. Those were kind of the cliff notes. If you want to go through all of it again with my reactions, etc., you can go find that on the channel. We have other videos on the channel, interviews, etc. We also have the live stream, all of it there, wrapped up in a neat little package for you in the playlist below, the Heinz Report Case Files edition for the replay crew. And once again, thank you everyone for watching, for tuning in. By the way, hit that like button, please. If there's one thing I will ask you to do, is to hit that like button, because it does help with the algorithm. Shayi says, I need to find me a woman to abuse me like that. Wow. Yeah, gosh, I'm missing out. The abuse that Grace Jabbari was going through, gosh, I wish I was going through that. Of course, guys, I hope you all have a funny bone. I hope this is not gonna get clipped somewhere and put out on social media as if everyone forgets how to laugh. Please, guys, I plan to bring a bit of levity into everything that I cover, everything. So if you do get easily offended, please, I actually encourage you to please, log off the stream. Like, just close. You can go somewhere else. Honestly, I plan to bring a bit of levity, because the subjects like this, I'll be very honest with you, they make me extremely uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. The main reason why I do things like this, the main reason why I cover cases like this, is because of my past, is because I don't like feeling helpless, and I don't like feeling beholden to, I don't like feeling limited. And I know when I'm feeling uncomfortable, I'm very limited. I've been told that I make jokes because I am uncomfortable, etc. Whatever it might be, I don't care. I literally just make jokes because of the fact that, hey, it does make me happy. It does put me at ease. So if it does offend you, I sincerely hope you are all okay. And I sincerely hope that you you know, as you're leaving, that you have a good day, etc. But I will make jokes at some point in this stream. Does not mean I don't value the domestic violence or I'm not taking it seriously. No, hell no. It does not mean anything of the sort. It just means I am trying to find a way to insert my own personality into this so that people do not feel what I'm feeling. Because I'm telling you right now, it's very uncomfortable reading through all of this, not just in terms of domestic violence, for example, but it's also in terms of false accusations. Being a victim of that as well myself, it's not fun. Reading someone's lies or something I perceive to be a lie, it's not fun. But anyway, let me go into the redirect of Grace Jabbari right now. And yeah, we're gonna see what unfolds in that redirect. So let's bring the levity back into this stream. So the redirect of Grace Jabbari goes as follows. Attorney Galloway, who is the prosecution, says, good morning, Ms. Jabbari. I just have a few questions for you about your cross examination. Let me just quickly show this. Shahid says, respectfully joking, of course. I know Shahid. Of course, I don't think that you are like that. But I just thought I personally had to make that clear so that people don't think I don't take this stuff seriously. That's all. It's not a reflection on you, by the way, or anything like that. I don't think that any of you guys do take DV, discourse, etc. to be trivial or anything like that. So don't worry about it. I found it funny. But anyway, let me go back into reading this. Right. So for the redirect is as follows. Let me just get the correct tab up. Oh, flipping heck, what's going on? Right. Okay, cool. I just have a few questions for you about your cross-examination from yesterday and the day before. First, you were asked at the end of the day yesterday if the defendant responded to the text message that you sent on March 25th, 26th, and 27th. Do you remember that? Yes. Did there come a time when the defendant reached out to you? Yes. And what did he say? Hi. And was this after he was arrested or before? After. I also wanted to speak to you with you brief. I'll get to it. I also wanted to speak to you with you briefly about the video surveillance we saw of you at Lucy's prior to going to Lucy's. Who, if anyone, was drinking that night? We were both drinking. Yes. What did you observe the defendant drink? He was drinking double shots of whiskey at the theater, and then I believe the same drinks as me at the restaurants. What were those drinks? Cocktails. I can't remember the exact. Do you remember if you observed the defendant having a shot at Waters? Objection. I can rephrase. That would be speculative. I believe it would be. Anyway, who, if anyone, had shots at Waters? I don't recall. Now, Ms. Jabbari, you were also asked questions on cross-examination about a legal document you signed as part of this case. It seems like they're not going to go back to the text messages, so I'm just going to go straight here, and I'm just going to say this right here. I'm going to say this. Oh, sidebar. Guys, where is that text message? Where did it come from? Where is it? Where is the communication that showed that Jonathan did this? Did they say it to a jury? Did they show it? You have his communications. You got his text messages from September, so it's not as if he was withholding. Oh, I'm not gonna share my phone with you. You've got his communications. Where is the text message that he sent to her? Hi, this is a clear violation of his protective order. He's not allowed to do that. But Grace can say, "Oh yeah, he messaged me hi." Okay, where's the text? Oh, okay. I don't believe that for 1 second. I'm just gonna say it right now. I don't believe that for 1 second. I don't believe that this guy contacted her, because if not for 1 second, there was proof that because she said yes to all of this, there was proof that she tried contacting him. So if he has contacted her, there is I'm pretty sure she would still want to know who the hell is Cleopatra? Are we still together? All those things. We didn't get that from the cross. We just know that she contacted him, trying to say, trying to blame, say this, this was not this, trying to reassure him, doing all those things. We went through that in the cross yesterday. So this is, I'm sorry, I have a hard time believing he would ignore those messages and just message you hi. Sorry, hard sell for me, really hard sell. I'm not gonna buy that. What's it saying? Rock? I have a bridge. Oh, that bridge. I'm not gonna buy that bridge. I'm sorry. I think it's a bridge. I don't know. If you know the saying, let me know in the comment section. Okay. Back into the reading here. It says, now, Ms. Jabbari, you will also ask questions on cross-examination about a legal document you signed as part of this case. Yes. Do you have any legal training? No. Where did you go? To law school. Objection. That's sustained. Most likely relevance. She has no legal training. Let's just move on. Ms. Jabbari, do you know the legal definition of observed? Objection. No. At the end of the day, yesterday, you testified on cross about the last paragraph in that legal document. Do you remember that? I do. Yes. You said that after many hours of testimony, you were confused what it was referring to. Do you remember that? Yes. Do you remember what the last paragraph says? In this moment, no. Sorry. It was okay. Would anything refresh your recollection? Yes. Handing to the witness that has been pre-marked as defense exhibit 506 for identification, blah blah. Miss Jabbari, what does the last paragraph detail? It details how he pushed me into the vehicle. Do I read it or it's okay? Objection. That's sustained, move to strike. That's most likely hearsay or something like that. In the last paragraph, I know we had spoken, or well, technically speaking, they try to actually bring that in. Sidebar for a second. Just for full context, they actually tried to bring that in the cross-examination. What she was saying, they were objecting all over the place. All over the place. They objected all over the place to hearsay multiple times. They tried to bring that in. They were like, oh no, she can't do it. You can't just read the document, hearsay, all these things. I believe that was it. They tried to go through the audio to bring in from that what she was basically saying to when she was being interviewed by the DA, etc. Again, objection, all those things. They basically did everything they could, defense anyway, to bring these details in. They didn't, and now they want to bring it in. No. That's why it was basically sustained. Magically, welcome. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for joining. Magic Malicious, nice to see you again on stream. Thank you so much for joining. And we're gonna go right back into the redirect. So we know why that was sustained, because most likely, it wasn't allowed to be brought in during cross. It was really unfair to bring it in now. Objection to the introduction of that, overruled. What? Okay. In the last paragraph, I know we had spoken, or you had spoken about multiple times that you had testified that the defendant pushed you. Objection to the introduction of that, overruled. No, yeah, it was in the direct exam, so you can't ask question about it. You asked a lot of questions about the conversation. Yes, exactly. Okay. And also in cross as well, you did ask. I want to show one portion of the people's exhibit 5, if the court will allow. Mr. Perez will be able to operate. People's 5, if you remember, that's the people's compilation video. Members of jury, let us know if you can clearly see. Can everyone see? Good. All right. If you could put a time of 2:18. I know this is upsetting to watch. I just want to clarify one question. Objection to the instruction of the question, Your Honor. Forget what you just heard. Okay. Okay. So he did sustain that, but just the question has to be asked. Stopping at video 20. What, if anything, did you see on the video? Asked and answered overruled. I see him pick me up and throw me against the car, and then push me multiple times in the car, which is accurate. That is what we see. Throwing, okay, maybe you can call it whatever you want. Throwing does sound I would say put in, but throwing works as well. He did pick her up, we saw that, and he did push her back into the car multiple times. What was she doing to constitute being pushed back into the car multiple times? But anyway, moving on. And I know yesterday you were testified about car 1, car 2, car 3. So using Miss Chowdhury's helpful language on car 2, where you were you where were you when you testified the defendant pushed you? I was on the seat behind the driver. That was inside the vehicle. Inside the vehicle, yes. Okay, thank you. See what I mean? The foundation was not adequately laid, but this is now misrepresenting Sidebar. This is now misrepresenting um this is now misrepresenting the cross-examination that was going on yesterday, because that was not what Priya was asking in the cross-examination, and now you can't exactly open up recross to go over this again. That's not what recross is for. So it's pretty much locked and sealed now. It's now misrepresented, because what Priya was trying to say was she said these things outside the car. I don't like how, my feelings already on last stream. I don't want to repeat myself, but long story short, she was unsuccessful in getting the audio in so that we can hear what Grace was actually saying had occurred at the time. I believe if she said outside the vehicle, case closed, because you can't ascribe any of these injuries to him. And even if that's the case, you still can't, because end of the day, in car 2, she never testified to these injuries being received in car 2. It was in car 1. So this is pointless to me. Why they're redirecting on this is kind of pointless, because end of the day, the damage is done. The jury still did get to hear, in my opinion. So even though I don't agree with how Priya handled the foundation laying, the damage was still done, because end of the day, they still got to hear that she told the prosecution that in car 2 is when Majors was twisting the finger and all those things outside the car. This was in April or May. I believe it was May. Or April. I think it was April. So point is, it was a lot closer to the date of the incident compared to what she's saying in court, because in court it's in car 1 now. So that's enough doubt for me. Again, I went through, even despite how I felt, because obviously I'm a perfectionist in a way. I would like things to be done perfectly and precisely as everything, whatever. That doesn't matter, because end of the day, the damage was still done. The jury still got to hear that earlier, before she's saying in front of you now, telling you all of these things that she told the prosecution. And there's no denying that in this redirect, by the way, she told the prosecution that Majors had done the arm twisting, the hitting on in the head, etc. All those things that she had described for car 1, it was in car 2. That should be doubtful enough, in my opinion. That should be doubtful enough. Blue Queen TV, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back. Hey, this woman can't keep her life straight. No, she cannot. Absolutely not. And to be quite fair, it's hard to it's hard to rehabilitate, and I really hope the jury were paying attention, because if they were paying attention, if that was me, I would not let that go. Why did she tell? She denied it. Grace denied it, but we're not seeing the prosecution even bring that up. To me, that's everything. For me, that's all I need to say. I'm doubting this. Because you're telling me that all these things happen in car 2, but we saw with our own eyes in car 2, you causing the injuries. Well, not causing injuries. You causing injuries to him, most likely when you did rip off his lapel coat, all of those things. So yeah, that's what was apparent from yesterday's cross exam. So make sure that you hit the like button on this stream. It's going to help us out with the algorithm a lot. Make sure you also share this stream on your different socials, so that people can find it, and we can finally appease the algorithm monster that has been eating up the viewership of my streams. Okay, right, all that done. Let's go back into the redirect. Okay, so she says, okay, thank you, that's all, thank you. Okay. On cross-examination, you were also asked in the text messages to your friend that you didn't mention that Mr. B just had hurt you. In response, you said in text messages, no. Correct. That was the friend. The friend is Ollie Blakey in this occasion. What did you mean by that? On the phone, I told her objection. Okay, fair enough. Okay, I think that's fair. but it's a bit weird because yes, she does she does open the door. She has opened the door. However, the door was only open to communications with the Texas. However, I can also see why the judge said you open the door to that because of the question here. It says on cross-examination, you were also asked in the text messages to your friend that you didn't mention that Mr. Major had hurt you. So if she didn't mention it, where did she mention it? That's where the door was open. In my opinion, reading this, it's kind of it makes sense why that hearsay objection would be overruled, and she can now elaborate whatever they had conversations on the phone. Again, it's a phone conversation. If her credibility is already down on the floor at this point, the jury can easily look at this and be like, okay, there's less weight because we don't see the text messages in front of us. They can easily look at it like that and be like, well, I would like to see the text messages, and I see you didn't mention him. So if you're telling me of something that was going on the phone, I already don't believe you because of these inconsistencies, etc. So I'm gonna disregard that. That's the only way that. So even though the door is open for her to make this testimony, her credibility can diminish the weight of this testimony. In my opinion, it's just how I'm looking at it. If I was on the jury, I'd be very critical that I saw a text message and now I'm hearing what she said on the phone, etc. But then again, maybe I could be swayed by whatever she says here. So she says, on the phone, I told her how injured I was and how much pain I was in. I sent her photos of the injuries. I didn't text out the description of it, right? And you remember approximately what time that was? It was early in the morning, like between 7 and 8 p.m. I think. Did there come a point when you remembered informing your friend that the defendant had caused you the injuries? Objection overruled. Again, she did open the door. Let's hear it. On the phone, yeah. Sidebar for a second, guys. Do you see an issue here? Because on the last stream, I'm not sure if you guys remember this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong on this. She actually texted Holly that Jonathan. I don't want to get this wrong. I really don't want to get this wrong. But she texted Holly. You know what? Let me go to the last transcript and actually just make sure before I say this. But I don't want to say it just yet. Let me just go through the last transcripts. No, I can't remember. It's like I was in pain, etc. Taking the pain medication, the specific memory of pain medication, etc. We're still sidebarring once again. You told us you woke up and you texted your friend Holly, right? You spoke to her. Ms. Jabbari, well, you're saying you told your friend a few hours later, you told your friend at Bellevue that you fainted, right? Okay, cool. It should be blah blah and 10-second clip, etc. She fainted. And then Ms. Jabbari was saying you told her okay. So okay. I can't find anything in regards to Holly finding out. She says she told. Honestly, I might have to go back to to Holly Blakey's cross exam because this should be here. If Grace had told this is the reason why I'm going hard on it, because I'm very adamant that she never told Ollie that that those injuries came from those injuries came from Jonathan. I think she definitely told him about what happened the night before, which is what Soloduff is referring to here. Hey, Soloduff, welcome back to the stream. She did say we got scrappy last night. So I think that was definitely said that they're going to a scrap. Maybe you can infer it because they were showing the pictures that she sent, and she sent that maybe in that sense. But I never heard anybody say she was explicitly told, yes, Jonathan did this to me. Because because to be honest, that's consistent with what she said to the police. Do you want to know? But at the same time, it's undermining your own case because you're saying you were trying to protect him all this time, all the way to Bellevue. This is conflicting, at least to me. So I'm wondering, are you even sure? Because at the same time, she was saying all of that Jonathan did this and she volunteered this privately. She was also saying, I can't remember how I got those injuries. I can't remember how, she said it's to Holly as well. that she can't remember how she got those injuries. Let me just go back to actually double check on that one. Damn it. One second. Please, someone in the chat. No. Okay, so okay, so didn't know. Let me just quickly go back to this. Sorry, one second. Let me show you this so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, this is Grace Jabbari's. You told the police officers if you didn't know you are fallen. That isn't true. Okay, they had a memory, and yep, she told the police officer that she didn't know she had fallen, but she messaged Holly that she had fainted. So she knew what basically happened. That she had fainted. You said you didn't know you had fallen. Exactly. Yep, she didn't. She didn't know. I'm pretty sure. My memory is not great because of the fact that, I mean, I had the same hunch with the officer and who volunteered what until Grace got to admit it, but again, it's not here. Okay. She said she didn't know. She said here you're able to be lacerated. Correct. That she didn't know that it was broken at the time. Again, she didn't know she didn't know what happened with her ear, and we went through this on the previous stream and the previous 4 parts of this before the direct exam that we after the direct exam. Sorry. I know this is a long sidebar, but what we have to, I really have to get to the bottom of this. You didn't know what movement caused your injuries. Let's see that. Sustained. Okay, there was no foundation to that. Okay, so isn't it how you told the officer you don't know what happened to your finger, etc. You told the officer you didn't know what happened to your finger, etc. No, she didn't. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, she did. That's what she said. Okay, so they were playing the audio body cam. This is what I was referring to earlier. They were playing the audio body cam. That would have come in because she said that the injuries occurred at the on the body on the so saying the second time at this that your injuries was occurring the second time you got in the car. Exactly. So it's right here. She did say that. And they said, yeah, refresh your recollection. And then she kept yeah, so all of this should have caused reason with that. I mean, honestly, I don't need to even go this, but I'm just doing it so that I can factually check myself and just be sure of what I'm saying. That's why I'm doing this. But honestly, all of this is doubtful because end of the day, I'm pretty sure. Let me go to Holly Blakey. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure in regards to. I'm pretty sure she wasn't told about that the injuries came from Jonathan. Let me see. Defendant. Okay, so it says here. Let me share this tab. This is the only time I find. I'm doing this keyword searches for obviously time, and said she said here, did there come a time where there come a time when you were able to speak with Grace Jabbari? With Miss Jabbari? Yes, yes, she answered the phone. And did she speak to her about the incident? Yes. Did she speak to her about the injuries? Yes. Approximately how long was the conversation? I was on the phone on and off to Gracie for hours and hours. How long was the first conversation? Blah, blah, blah. I know you said multiple phone calls. So going to the first phone call without a substance of it, can you explain tone of voice? Okay, so they didn't go into it here, most likely for hearsay reasons. So because they opened a door, so Holly never testified to it. Then, from understanding this, she never actually testified to it, which is why I guess in my head I was thinking, no, she never said that. Or she never told Holly that, because I didn't even remember Holly saying that she did. But now it makes sense um why that would be the case, because the door has now been opened based on the questioning that was going through in cross examination to open a door for the phone call to come in, because the phone call here she couldn't go into the substance of it. Right. Let me try and search. Okay, so it is here. On the redirect of Holly Blakey says, on March 25th, 2020, did Miss Jabbari told you who had caused her injuries? Yes. And who's that person? Jonathan Majors. So so she did say it here. She did say it here. She said it in court. I'm trying to establish whether she said it on the day, but she said it here in court that it was Jonathan that this caused the injury. So I'm inferring here, because as also on the redirect, I'm inferring here that in regards to this testimony, yeah, that's what she was told, and then it goes with Grace, and this testimony was after Grace Jabbari as well. Okay, so on cross-examination, you were asked if Ms. Jabbari told you that she didn't know exactly how her injuries had happened. Did Ms. Jabbari tell you who had caused the injuries? She said he had hurt me again. Okay, so he had hurt me again. That was from Holly Blakey. Trying to. There was something that was said on cross-examination. Trying to see that cross. In regards to the appointment that she had with the attorney, and she was describing what Grace was like, because it was different to what she was saying here. Bear with me 1 second. Cross examination was common. That can't have been that short. Okay, district. Miss Blakey, is it true? Yes, this is one. Miss Blakey on the. Okay, they were asking questions about her drinking. Yes, it was a Korean conversation as we were talking on the phone, and it's still a testimony that it was Korean conversation. Yes, Miss Blakey, isn't it true that on June 16th you had a phone call with? Sorry, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. In case you okay, so Miss Blakey, isn't it true that on June 16th you had a phone call with the district attorney's office on that phone call on that phone call where Miss Galloway and a paralegal from the office, Layla, whatever. Yes. I can't remember the date, whatever. Okay, cool. And isn't it true that during the phone call you were discussing with the district attorneys this conversation you had in the morning? Except yep. And it's important for you to be accurate about the conversation, correct? Yes. And you were accurate in that conversation, correct? To as much as I remember, yes. And isn't it true that on that day you said that Ms. Jabbari was not making much sense on the phone call at all? What I meant was that, Ms. Blakey, did you say that or not? I said that. Can I explain? What will happen is Ms. Galloway will be able to ask a question afterwards, which is what we went on. She never explained this part, by the way. I just want to put it out there. She didn't explain what she meant by that on the redirect, because she was never asked. That's the truth. It's important. That's the truth. It's important I explain that. You'll be asked questions on it. You could ask questions that you could ask that question again, so you have an answer. Just answer yes or no. Yes. Do you want to ask it again, Miss Chaudhry? Yes. Miss Blakey, isn't it true that during a phone call with the district attorney's office, while you were discussing your phone call with Miss Jabbari on the morning of March 25th, you said that she was not making much sense? Yes, in a wider context, in a wider context, in a wider conversation. All right. So the answer is yes. And isn't it true that the phone call you told the show telling you that Miss Jabbari was half asleep is that right? At times. And is it true that you described Miss Jabbari as historical? Isn't that right? I don't remember saying that. Miss Blakey, isn't it true that Jabbari told you that there was blood on the pillow? Yeah, on a pillow, yes. And I'm referring again to the morning of March 25th. Is that right? I'm sorry. You have yes. Um and isn't it true that Miss Jabbari told you that she had been really scrappy with Mr. Bages last night, which is what Solar Dove was referring to? Great memory there, Solar Dove. She had said that. And isn't it true that Miss Jabbari told you that she didn't know exactly what happened? Yes. That's what I was looking for. 2 out of 2. Oh. Oh, I'm so happy. My hunches, I'm never, my gut feeling is never wrong. I knew I read that somewhere. So this negates, Jonathan caused those injuries. How do you know? Okay, in that conversation with Ms. Jabbari on the morning of March 25th, did she tell you how much she had drank the night before? Objection is sustained, hearsay, most likely. In that conversation, did Ms. Jabbari did not mention that to you that she had taken sleeping pills, correct? Objection, hearsay, most likely. And they're going through all of these for objections, nothing really gone through. So they pass the witness to in the redirect. I'm just gonna see if they miss. Okay, so they did ask a question. My bad on that one. I will always get one wrong. Always. My gut wasn't this one though, so I'm happy with that one. But this was just for completeness. I'm gonna read this part out because I did say that they didn't ask her the question, but they did. Just for completeness, I'm gonna read it now. Ms. Blakey, what did you mean by Ms. Jabbari wasn't making a lot of sense? I meant that conversation was non-linear. That at this time there was also subservience. There was also a subservience in the way what going on with Jonathan. Objections to characterization, Mr. Strike. Yes. So that didn't come in. That last sentence will be stricken. Well, I don't know what she said after that, because if it was stricken, we wouldn't see subservience. So probably more was said after that. I meant that conversation was non-linear. She was very emotional and upset. It doesn't always have structure that a normal question would have obtained. It was all over the place. And on cross-examination, you were asked if Ms. Jabbari told you she didn't know exactly about how injuries happened. Did Ms. Jabbari tell you who had caused her injuries? She said, yep, that's the context. You know the full story. She said she doesn't know exactly what's happened. Again, like I said, it doesn't really matter now. The jury heard it. And in my opinion, if she didn't know what happened and said, oh, Jonathan did it because Holly is saying he had done it again. So he had done this again. So I don't know I don't know what's happened in the past. We didn't get to hear it in this case. Holly clearly knows something had happened in the past between Majors and Grace. I would have loved. I'm obviously they couldn't explore the nature of that conversation because hearsay would come in. But then again, it's a non-party witness. So I don't know how I don't know how that navigate on that. But in my opinion, reading all of that, this is probably what swayed the jury when the text messages come in. I'll be very honest. Reading this and Holly's testimony, I'll be very honest. That's probably what swayed the jury. If I'm being honest with you, they're hearing this from they're hearing this from a third party witness who are they could probably infer that they're not close. I think they called in Holly Blakey's. No, it was Chloe. Sorry, it wasn't Holly Blakey. So they maybe didn't regard this as much, but they did call in Chloe Zellner's, who was with Grace on the night. So they called in for some of her testimony to be given to them for deliberations. But so maybe they didn't take into consideration what she said here in regards to he had hurt me again, or what we all just read. Without context, it's hard to know what was meant, because he had hurt me again could easily be, again, emotional, physical. There was no elaboration on it. But again, she did say, I don't know how I got these injuries, and what's going on here is that I don't know what I'm trying to say is that it's a paradox. because I don't know how she's telling you, I don't know how I got these injuries, but he had hurt me again. That those two sentences cannot coexist. Point blank. I don't know how you expect me to believe that. I don't know how you expect me to investigate the previous time that he had hurt you when she actually told you, I don't know what happened. I don't know. And even her trying to clean it up is not actually clear. So that's what I was looking for in the cross exam. Glad I got there. Let's go back. I'm just gonna read a couple of chats. Soledad says she has no clue how she got injured. Suggests to the Cubs Jonathan Major did it. To Jonathan Majors, all I want all this stopped. I told them you did nothing. No wonder she has no idea what to say when. Exactly, because there is text messages saying that they try to characterize those text messages as an abuse victim. Okay, so why did you volunteer? I don't get it. Like, it would happen, but then again, she volunteered. She was out. Let's play devil's advocate and take it on. Okay, this is an abuse victim, and she's going through all that, right? I went through this on one of the streams. Anyway, you could have got out of that situation without having to implicate them if you were really that worried about the police, etc. Point blank, I'm sorry, what do you mean about he strangled you? I'm sorry, that's what you volunteered to the police, because that would suggest to them that the suicide call was pretty much him setting it up so that he can have the liability. You don't know how you said, oh, I don't know if it's fallen. You didn't really see, you fainted, because that's what you told Holly Blakey. You fainted, but you also, like, the police is gonna conclude he had strangled you, you lost it, and then he's calling them so that he can cover himself here. But it obviously doesn't line up at the same time. So it doesn't line up at the same time because the door was locked. Again, he could have locked it, done all it. Again, when the police have it in for you, they were already questioning the value of his house, etc. When the police have it in for you, they will make any stretch to fit whatever they have in their head. I've been on streams with a defendant that was really targeted by the police, and they have tried really hard to pin a crime that he didn't commit. His name is Matthew Moore versus Ohio versus Matthew Moore. It was really big last year. You can go look it up. But they tried to blame him for the suicide of his wife, saying that he murdered her, and they had paper thin evidence. So if that was the Ohio police doing it to a white guy, what's New York to? I'm sorry to bring race into it, but it's a massive component. And now looking at the CCTV and everything after the arrest, because of course the police were not privy to the CCTV at the time to even know all of this before the arrest. Anyway, they were not privy to all that. Now looking at TV, there is no way he did that. It did that. We can clear that up right here, right now. So what I'm trying to say is, this is not somebody that was trying to protect him with the police. She did volunteer to the police. He did this, he did this, he did this. He hit me in the back of the head. He choked me, all those things. The charges came. She's all it seems to me was, I will make this go away if you take me back. I love you. I read the first time I read this message, I actually said, this sounds like a girl that's trying to get him back. I saw it. I was like, no, this sounds like someone that's trying to I didn't make my mind up about the case back then. I was just adamant, there is no way this is someone that is like, that is suggesting this is all Stockholm syndrome, form response, all those things. I was like, that's not consistent. The guy says, goodbye, Grace. And this was hours before the whole incident occurred. I looked at the timestamp. I was focused on that. 8:59, I think it was, or 8:48 or whatever. Around that time, I think it was. And he texted that, goodbye. And then all of a sudden, you get this massive change of heart. I said it was my fault I went for the phone. All these things, saying all that. I love you, etc. I was like, yo, she's panicking that this relationship is done. The goodbye Grace sounds like it's over. That's what I read it as. I was adamant. People call me an abuse apologist, whatever, all those things. I don't understand DV, blah, blah. We now see that she volunteered all those to the police, and her taking all this back could literally mean I lied about everything. I'm just saying. Anyway, at the very least, this case should actually have been dismissed. But yes, it doesn't meet the standard. I'm sorry. I'm looking at this. Yes, I know. I believe majors. That's fine. That's fine. I believe majors. But I like to believe, chat. You can let me know if I am biased or not. I like to believe I'm quite unbiased when I approach subjects like this. I try to give equal weight to what I'm reading, etc. Whatever fact is out there, I accept, and I try to modify my modify where needed. I've been critical of prayer. I've been critical of but facts are facts. Sometimes you can't hide the fact. I still can't explain what Grace meant by her, etc. I can only give you possibilities. I can't explain that. Could it have happened in the past? Yes, but I haven't seen any fact to show me otherwise. And this case likely wasn't the right forum to bring in those facts. Maybe in a different case, we could establish fact. If the UK case, because if that is actually going on, you are allowed to walk into court and even live tweet from court now, thanks to Nick Wallace, who was doing that for the Dev v. Heard trial. So if I have any whiff of that case, believe me, I am going to hit the underground, the London underground. Make sure I am in court every single day. If I could find a whiff, because I can't find anything. I don't know how to look. I'm trying to hit up barristers and be like, hey, how can I do this? How can I do that? Because that case happened, the police arrest was in September 2006 or October. There was no arrest. The investigation happened when the Rolling Stone article hit. But I haven't heard any updates to see if it's even in court or if it's going to go to court or if the CPS, Crime Prosecution Services, have actually prosecuted the case to even go to court. So I don't know what's going on. If it does, I'm going to be the first one at that courtroom every single day if I can. Honestly, if I'm working, I'll take a holiday. Don't care. Because I really want to know what happened in that case. But the point is, I don't have the facts to conclude. And if you guys know me by now, I don't argue based on my assumptions. Some people do. I don't do it. Not demonizing other people that may have. I just think it's just better to operate from the realm of facts and reality than what could have happened. I don't care for what could have happened. I can and if I ever go down a realm, I try to give off as much speculation as possible. So anyway, going back to the reading. So the Dove says they have showed Grace Jabbari that has no clue about the injuries, exactly, or at the very least, non-credible witness to her own life, exactly. He had done it again, guessing breaking up or talking to our women. Yes, it could have been easily that, because again, she kept saying, "That's my focus. That was my focus. The Cleopatra checks, all those things." That's what she kept saying. Yes, they're probably skirting the language when they say hurt. Grace Jabbari is talking about her feelings, which were made of loss. Exactly. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know. She kept like the actual pain from the pattern, and I'm glad you guys are having this conversation in the chat so that I can bring out this point, because the pattern that I kept noticing all through that was what she was hurt the most by was the cheating and the infidelity. That's what she was she said that over and over again. Is the infidelity, is all of that. So if she's hurt, it's hard to now understand, okay, what do you mean by hurt? Because we know already that your mindset was all through the night before you were in pain and then having to send to Ollie. Even when you sent to Holly, you said, I don't know how this came. So Jonathan had hurt me. Grace hearing that without knowing the context, maybe I don't know. I actually don't know if Grace had told her, oh, he cheated on me. I actually don't know. Let me actually check that, actually. That would be pretty material, because if she does know that, then that changes everything. But if she didn't know, that makes my point for me, because that at least tell me, okay, there's no infidelity. Cheat. No, there's nothing to do with cheat, infidelity. What? Let me know the other words that could be in the transcript, but I don't think it came up. That's the point I'm kind of trying to make here. If Holly on the other side is hearing he had hurt me again, that could easily mean, at least on Holly's side, oh, he's talking about physical abuse. On Grace's side, it could literally mean, oh, hurt me again. As in he's with all other women again. And to me, I honestly believe Jonathan was doing that. I said this from the beginning as well. I said I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. If he was seeing other women, that's how he met that's how he met Megan, and now they're doing this. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he was seeing multiple women before being. I said this from the beginning. So if that's the hurt, there's a lot of context there, and the purpose, useful or use of that hurt is at least it needs clearing up. If the jury did disregard Holly and Grace's testimony, and they just went by Chloe, I can maybe understand how they arrived at their decision. But I'm glad because on part one of the Grace Jabbari transcript read, where we're going through the direct exam, Nate, the lawyer, did drop by and gave wonderful insight to the appeal, and basically said what the jury have found him for is very inconsistent, and that could likely win the appeal. If that happens, great, because it doesn't make sense how he's not guilty for aggravated harassment, but reckless harassment he is guilty for. They're the same thing. Basically, what Nate is saying is you should have been guilty for both. Basically, at least aggravated harassment, reckless assault, and harassment. I personally think the violation harassment, the second degree violation harassment, he should have been guilty of. No doubt, he lifted her up. Doesn't have to cause an injury. Lifted her up, put it in a car. Guilty. I think that's aggravated. Sorry, that's harassment. Aggravated harassment does require intent. The jury, of course, couldn't prove it, so they said no. So reckless does not require intent, but this shows you how the prosecution failed by bringing both charges in. They didn't have to do that, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I tried to ask. You can go back on that stream. I'm having problems remembering, but it's part one of that stream. You can go back to it and watch it. But I believe Nate the lawyer actually, I did ask Nate the lawyer that question, and they said, and Nate the lawyer, yes, I do remember now. Nate actually said on that stream that prosecution will always bring charges regardless. They don't care. It's just up to the jury to decide which one to stick it up. Yeah, but things like this happen. Let's see what happens during the appeal and sentencing, etc. Reading this, how does HB go from Holly Blakey go from Grace Jabbari? She didn't know, just flat out saying, yeah, exactly. I would have disregarded. Like I think the jury did. Sorry, I think the jury did disregard her. If I be honest, she was using our words to make the situation seem worse. Yep, making it seem like it's some physical chaos. She's just actually talking about him not wanting anymore. Absolutely. Based on everything she said, that's the only thing that makes sense. She's been saying her mind was on the infidelity all the time. Even when she was back at the apartment, that's all she was thinking of. While even messaging Grace, she was messaging Jonathan to get back because he broke up with her. Remember that we went through that on the previous stream. That's what was happening. There is no way she could not mean her as in emotionally. That's what I'm gathering from all of this. Anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna go back to the cross exam of Grace Jabbari right now. Sorry, not cross exam, redirect. I've been doing cross exam so long that I think everything is cross exam. But yeah, I'm gonna go right back to it. Hit that like button, please. Please hit that like button, hit that share button. Let your friends everywhere know. I am also on X. Make sure you follow me, Dr. Heinz Official on X. I'm gonna be changing the handle. I'm considering should I change the handle of because it's called Hindsight. But it would be nice if it's Dr. Heinz Official so that you guys can find it easily everywhere. But everywhere else, Instagram and Twitter, that's all I use. I don't care about TikTok. I hate TikTok. It's they spy on you, man. Anyway, I'm a bit paranoid. I'm 30 years old and I still act like a boomer. But anyway, point is, I don't care about TikTok. Anyway, Dr. Heinz Official on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me there making some outlandish. Not outlandish. I'm actually quite okay on Twitter. bit tame. But anyway, back to the redirect. So it says, did there come a point when you remembered you're informing your friend that the defendant caused you the injuries on the phone? Yeah, I told her that he hurt me and he cheated on me. Okay, so concluded. So they say they just didn't ask her questions because I'm guessing it's strategy then, because if they ask her questions, then her saying it was Jonathan that caused the injuries would have less weight, because now him cheating on her, they would perceive that as he had hurt her. So they it's probably a strategy to not let her in. But this was the same day that Holly Blakey came up. So Holly came on after this testimony. So the jury just heard this. I think there's a high likelihood that the jury didn't regard what Holly has said. But it's insane. I told you he had hurt me and I cheated on me. What you're basically saying is the hurt is he cheated on you. That's what you're saying. That's what I'm into. I don't know how else to interpret it, because it doesn't make sense. It's still a paradox. It does not make sense how Holly is saying, I don't know if Jonathan I don't know what happened that last night, and then said Jonathan had caused my injuries. That doesn't make sense. That's actually is a paradox. It literally cannot exist. It's like me saying Santa is not real. But what's a good example? Santa is not real. Bigfoot is not real. I know it's not real. There's no scientific evidence. But I saw him in my living room. People will think that you're crazy, like smoking the highest amount of weed. Like legit. Let's not kid ourselves. Like, that can't exist. That can't exist. That can't make sense. Let's be real. Anyway, I'm sorry to break anyone's childhood dreams here, but no, Santa definitely isn't real. Bigfoot isn't real. There's no scientific proof of these guys existing. Just saying. I know some people would debate me on that, but just putting out there. Anyway, and Ms. Jabbari, you were also asked about the document that you filled out at the hospital. Do you remember that? Yes. And you were shown that document you wrote yesterday, the domestic incident report. Do you remember how many sentences you wrote on that document? I don't exactly, but it was like 2 or 3, I think. Did you write them yourself? I did, yes. In cross-examination, you stated you were right-handed. I am, yes. And what hand did you use to write a DRR? Right. And is it the same hand you used to write at the receipt at Lucy's? Yes. While you were at the hospital, what, if anything, did the doctors tell you about the injury to your finger? 1 second. Sorry, needed that. Sorry. After the X-ray, they told me that the top of so this bone was fractured. It looked like it was kind of split in half almost. If you could just indicate which finger. Let the record reflect that Ms. Jabbari pointed to the top half of her right middle finger. The record will so indicate. How are you able to write this paragraph or sign a receipt with a fracture to one of your fingers? I can use my index thumb. I can use my thumb, my index finger, which I believe is this one. Or is this the index? Is this the index, guys? Is it index? Let me know. You can't use what? If this is index, that's weird as hell. I can understand this. I can understand this. I can understand. Yeah, that one makes sense. If that's the index finger, cool. I don't know which one's the index finger. Google exists, guys. Let me just write this. I can just Google this thing. Damn it. I should know which index finger is. Okay. What's the index finger? Okay, the index finger is could just Google this anyway. The finger next to the thumb. So yep, it's this one. So okay, that is the index finger. Yep, she's not wrong. You can do that. Absolutely. Point blank. Right, so back to this. I can use my thumb and index finger and kind of support the rest of my hand. Yes, it was easier than writing with my left hand. I'll be asking, are you ambidextrous? But I know why the prosecutor wouldn't ask that, because now it puts. But I mean, they probably should. Yeah. If she is ambidextrous, I would wonder why don't you just use the left hand then? If your hand was really hurt, but then again, I can see why they wouldn't ask it. Anyway, moving on. Were you able to use your right hand after leaving the hospital? Yes, with the pain, but I could use it. To clarify, did you have any other valid interactions with anyone besides the defendant that night? I did not know. Did there come a time before calling your friend Holly that you fell? There was not a time I fell. No. Come on. Okay. And while you were at Lucy's, did anyone grab your right hand enough to cause you pain? Objection. No. To the leading. Sustain. So answer should have been stricken, but sure. Just ask it a different way. Try not to lead. Who, if anyone, grabbed your hand? We're not supposed to cause that night. Jonathan. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what you say. It does not matter at this point. It really does not matter at this point what you say. I'm sorry, I've seen enough evidence. You're talking to your friend on the day of the event when you're supposed to remember this stuff. You had 2 hours nap. You are. There is nothing that will change my mind. You said to your friend you don't know what cause, and now you're saying it's Jonathan 100%. Okay, fair enough. Let's go. Did anyone else? No. Prior to getting into the vehicle after leaving Waters, what was the condition of your hand? Sorry, could you repeat that? Yes, before you left Waters, what was the condition of your right hand? Just normal, fully functioning hand. And what was the condition of your head prior to leaving Waters? The same, just normal. What was the first time that you noticed pain? While it was being inflicted onto me, I noticed the pain. Then, did you? But you said in the direct, sidebar for a second. In the direct, she actually said that she cannot remember. That she actually said, I felt I couldn't feel the pain because I was more focused on the infidelity. What? I remember her saying this. There is no way. There is absolutely no way. What am I reading? You felt it while it was inflicted onto you, but you did not care about it, or you did not focus on it. Her words, trying to remember her words poignantly, she did not focus on it because she was more focused on the infidelity. Am I right? Did you guys remember her saying that? I remember saying that. For some reason, I remember that. So what are you talking about? I noticed it when it was being first inflicted. Okay, fair enough. Let's go. Let's go back anyway. Let's go back to the redirect. Did you call the police yourself? I did not know. Were you planning on calling the police? No. Were you planning on reporting this incident to any form of law enforcement? No. You were cross-examined regarding the fact that you told the doctor that you didn't know how the injuries were sustained. Yeah. Directing your attention to an incident with the defendant on September 23rd, 2023. Did there come a time when you were considering any medical attention? We went through this on the previous stream. I'm gonna sidebar in a second, but yeah, let me finish reading this. Yeah, to correct the record, 2022. Sorry, yes. It's my fault when you consider getting medical attention. Did you speak about that with the defendant? Yes. Did the defendant try to dissuade you from getting medical attention? Yes. People are showing witness has been marked for identification purposes. Ms. Jabbari, do you recognize that? Yes. And do you recognize it to be a USB stick with some messages on it? And do you know when those messages are from? The incident in September. How do you know that to be true? Because I've shown them about half an hour ago. Are those a fair and accurate depiction of the text messages between you and the defendant on September 22nd? Yeah, except more. Yeah, yes, I will explain that. How did you know that this is the same USB that you were shown? Because I signed and dated it. People move to identification as the defense seen it. Is there an objection? We haven't seen that, but we take people's representation. It's what they're shown to us. Okay, you've seen the text message that you were on that were on the USB before court. We have no objection. Thank you. So there was no objection. Publishing to the jury. Let the court reflect that the judge is. I'm zooming in so the judge can read. All right. Can the members of the jury see the television screen? And can all the members of the defense table see? Yes, or Your Honor. Order. Yep. Ms. Jabbari, what did you understand the defendant's first text to mean? Objection. Speculation, most likely. No, that's overruled. Do you want to read the text into the record? Me. You can read it if you like. It says it's just fake, and I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to an investigation, even if you do lie and they suspect something. Ms. Jabari, are your texts in blue or black? Mine are in blue. What did you respond? I responded, I will tell the doctor I bumped my head. Sorry, it's okay. And it's okay. And I could read into the record if you need. That's fine. The message that's indicated in blue states, I will tell the doctor I bump in my head if I go. I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep. I need stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I want to tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? The text messages in black state, I feel like you want to be together, as in not to embarrass yourself for everything you've said to your friends and family. Last night, I considered killing myself versus coming home. You said you needed love last night, and I put my feelings aside and tried to give you that. I need love too. Or maybe I'm such a monster and a horrible man that I don't deserve it and should just kill myself. This way of existence is miserable. I want to die. Your response in blue, I will not go to the doctor if you don't feel safe with me doing so. Also, or don't trust me too. I promise I will never mention you, but I understand your fear. The text messages in black say you can't reject love if there's no real love. It's just lip service. I gave you love last night and this morning before I got out of bed. When you got up, you were not full of love at all. I didn't feel it at all. You could have just given me a hug or walked close to me, or I asked me if you could give me a hug, not the other way around. It works both ways. I'll probably meal myself. It's not really contemplating anymore. I'm a monster, a horrible man, not capable of love. I'm effing myself soon. Um I've already put things in motion. Your response in blue is, Jonathan, you can't say this. I'm going to have to call someone. I'm sorry for not hugging you this morning. I really am. I was sleepy, disoriented by the fact that you thought I would break your necklace. I love so much. Obviously, what do you mean by this motion? All right. Before we continue, before I read this out, because I want to say this part here before I read this out, guys. This is way beyond the scope. This was in regards. I don't know why they showed the suicide on sorry, the unaliving oneself sidebar. I don't know why they showed the unaliving yourself, all of those things. I don't know why they showed that part. Because if they were just asking in regards to the doctors, etc., I feel that this is a bit too prejudicial. This part didn't. They got their point across with the don't go to hospital, etc. They got their point across perfectly. So why the other part? This is where I think Danny has a point in regards to abuse of discretion, because the judge should have basically stopped there. I don't know why all of this was allowed in. If they were, you already know my feelings. You can go watch that on the previous, on part 13. You already know my feelings. I'm not going to repeat myself here on this stream in regards to the maneuvers leading up to the doctor's text messages coming in, because I felt like it would have made a difference anyway, based on what she shared to the police, because she was already sharing that and not with the doctors. But in these text messages, they had already read into the record that they no perspective. I will tell the doctor I bumped my head, etc. And then the judge allows it. I'll tell the doctors I bumped my head, etc. Go and then allows her to read all of this thing in regards to the excesses, me being miserable, etc. I think that was an error. I think it should have stopped with the text messages in black, because it was a long text messages. I want accuse unalive myself, want to die, etc. It should stop there. But I will not go to doctor if it doesn't feel safe. All those things, and it says all those is lip service, etc. I must have killed myself, etc. Or saying, if you can't say this, of course, someone, etc. I personally think all of these things, just because she's talking about going to doctors, etc. And I can see what reason the judge could have in regards to bringing this case in. I just think it was in a weak foundation. That's just my opinion, and that opinion has bled into my interpretation of these texts. Because if you were looking to bring this in, and you are blanking out a lot of what she has said, which we're gonna read to, because I did read this part before to when we were doing a stream in regard with Angelina Lewis. I did read this part. If you're going to let that part in, I personally believe there are parts of this that you should have blanked out, like you did with some parts that you did blank out, because it's too like, I'm reading that in its entirety. That's prejudicial as hell. It's already prejudicial. The doctor should have been the focus, but this is clearly going off into unaliving, bringing in other events that does not pertain to this, like the hug, for example, or all this thing, a hug for, like, all those things. If you are gonna let those come in, which in my opinion doesn't even show that they were trying to keep things balanced, it doesn't show it. But if you're gonna let those come in, it's not at equal weight to dissuading the doctors. Don't come in. That's the point I'm making. What's the hug got to do with don't go to hospital? I asked for a hug before. You see what I'm trying to say? It's not even in line with the text messages, etc. But at the same time, all that. Let me just go back to it. It says, your response is in blue. Jonathan, you can't say this. I'm going to have to call someone. I'm sorry for not arguing this morning. I'm really sleepy. I was sleeping by the fact that you thought I would break your necklace. I love you. You see what I'm trying to say? This is not an equal weight. Everything from her side is not equal to what's coming out for his side for the dissuasion, to make it even fair that this should have come in the first place. If you really wanted to, you could have blocked out all of these part of the messages, because it's more prejudicial. It's too prejudicial for me. But you could have blocked out you could have blocked out so much messages. It says the message that indicated, I will tell doctor. It's right here. It's just fake. You could read that. I fear no perspective. We'll go to the hospital. I said, that's fine. They'll ask us questions, blah, blah. They'll, even if you do lie, etc. That's one. That could have been it. But no. It continues. So it says, that's fine. It says, so he okayed this part. It says, I will tell the doctor I bumped my head. Why is this material? That's the point I'm making here. Why is that part material? The point was not successful dissuasion. By the way, the point was not successful dissuasion. It was has Majors attempted to dissuade you from going from dissuaded from you going to the doctors, etc., which is why you were not forthcoming with this one. That has nothing to do with was he successful or not, because that's what the line of text messages is basically going into. Was he successful? You see what I'm trying to say? Like that's my opinion in regards to this. That shouldn't have come in because of that, because they're not arguing was she successful, unless they were arguing that in the sidebar, I would never know from the transcript. Maybe they did make the argument that the reason why she wasn't forthcoming to doctors is because in the past Majors was successfully dissuading her. Maybe that was the argument. I'll put it out there. But I still think, as a judge, you should have just looked at the case and be like, the text messages I kept out was already prejudicial. So I'm gonna let the part in where you did say, where he said, where he said, for example, you don't actually protect us. Don't I think that was enough, because because it was really prejudicial on his head, on the face of it alone. Personally, in my honest opinion, I'm reading that, and again, it's because I already know that she had already volunteered the information to the police. It may not be to a doctor, but the police has more power than the doctor. The doctor is going to treat you. I don't know what more replications. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. It's a weak foundation, because the police had already done the arrest. She knows they've done the arrest. So what are you trying to protect him from? That doesn't make any sense. She knew that they done the arrest. The officer, that the arresting officer, was with you in the hospital. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay. So I wanted to protect him because he told me that they're done arrest. So if I say anything further, you already given them what they needed to. It wasn't an arrest out of nowhere. You gave him something to go with. So again, if the abuse discretion does not, if the foundation already was already weak, why the judge would let this in? Because it makes no difference. It really makes no difference whether she told the doctor or not. The arrest had already happened, that she had full knowledge of. That nullifies this coming in my opinion anyway. Okay, maybe it was brought in for the satisfaction of the jury, so that they understand. But like I said, her basis for not telling was to protect majors. But we know that she didn't do that, because she voluntarily said this is what I'm trying to say. That, like, it's a weak foundation. So I don't know how they argue that in appeals, etc. Maybe they won't. Maybe I'm just coping hard, maybe. But I really think that based on this reading, and I'm going to go back to the reading. I'm going to show you a transcript here. Based on this, it says it's just fake, and I have no fear. You have no perspective for what could happen if you go to the hospital. They'll ask you questions, and I don't think you actually protect us. It could lead to something on an investigation. I think that's enough. And if you wanted to bring in what she respond with, I will tell the doctor I bump in my head if I go. I'm gonna give you one more day, but I can't sleep. I need some more painkillers. That's all. Why would I? That's enough. In my opinion, that is enough. But allowing the rest of these text messages in makes absolutely no sense. In my opinion, it makes absolutely no sense, because you've already established. If it's just for background, which we're gonna read, that's enough in my opinion. Anyway, words hurt certain types of AH and Grace Jabbari. Yes, it does. So that she held the police like a sword and shield. Yes, she did. She knew his background and fears and played on it. Yes, she did. I actually agree with that. Because again, it's just based on her testimony. She knew that he was arrested. It came out from the police that Lucero was with her when he made her sign the form. So she knew fully well, and she still volunteered the information to Lucero, which is what they were trying to establish in the cross. So what was she trying to hide from the doctors? This is what I'm trying to say. It makes no difference. It's a non sequitur. It makes absolutely no difference. Daisy Bao says you didn't fall, but you passed out, which is a Grace Jabbari. Absolutely. Oh, she didn't remember falling her DJ move into the wall. But how can she write like that? I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I mean, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, but you can actually just put your. But then again, it's a lot of discomfort because you're holding it back, because that's what I'm doing. But if you want to put your hand straight, you can actually, you can put a lot more force on your thumb and then write like that with your. So it's not that hard. It's actually not that hard. I think it's harder if this finger got broken, that's yeah, it's gonna be a tough sell. It's gonna be a very tough sell to anybody. How on earth you're writing with this finger broken? This finger is all right. This finger broken is kind of okay. This one broken is even better. The more it goes down, the easier it is. But this one broken, which didn't happen conveniently, but only this one, that just I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. For grabbing a phone and just grabbing this finger and pulling it, I don't know, man. Unless Jonathan was saying pull my finger, unless Grace was saying sorry, pull my finger, and then he pulled it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna run to the cops now. Unless that happened, I have a hard time believing he caused just the injury just to this just to this middle finger. Okay, you can write it. Yep, finger, ring finger. Yep, you can. Yep. She says she's not focusing on the pain, the moment. Yep, exactly. She also said she wasn't screaming on JM at the street cam. Yes, she did. And it's Claiborne. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for coming back. I've been seeing your comments. I appreciate your input on this. Ernest Claiborne says, good point. That was the entire pollution case. It ruined majors in the eyes of the 6 people that mattered. Exactly. Because end of the day, and I'm guessing you are referring to the what happened in car 1. Again, look, if you testifying in car 2, that's reasonable doubt. If you are saying before court that it was in car 2, reasonable doubt, I'm out. You're telling the police this, by the way, police cab. You're saying it's on the audio. I'm out. If I heard this, I'm out, and you're denying it, and the audio is not coming in, I'm like, I'm out. That should have come in, unless it's not true. Which again, I'll question why would the prosecution why would the defense put on that case when we've seen what happened on the night? Like, I don't know, but I don't find that credible. So that's really bleeding into my interpretation of all of this. That has to be said. Is she says our boy did say he hurt her heart, not her body. I love Sheen, man. Yes, he did. He did say that. You heard? Yeah. I heard her. I play with her heart. That's making me laugh now. Daisy Bao says the redacted texts were a ploy. It was just baiting her. It was just baiting him some more since she was scheming for a while. I personally look. If I was the judge and I really wanted to bring this in because I felt like it was really important, those 2 lines to me was enough. You don't need to go into any of this, because if you're going into any of this, you kind of have to open the door for the defense to recross. You kind of have to at least to recross on this. But I still think it's still strategy, because for all this to come in, it must be trial strategy that they could lay those foundations, and then the defense can object to each and every one of this, and then based on your objections, you can elaborate. That's what I personally think, because the judge allowed it only based on on its foundations. So the defense done enough to ask open questions to bring in these testimonies, but the point is the way that they ask it, they didn't ask to go the way they ask it, it didn't leave room for the defense to say, okay, not what happened per se, because they could have asked what happened, but they were just reading out, okay, this is what, okay, so the doctors, etc. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay, so this is what happened. In regards to this coming in, I don't know. I would have just asked to approach. I'm like, nope, this is not important. It's these 2 parts is enough. I personally would have asked to approach and just argue that right there and there. These 2 parts, that's enough. I know you want to bring in this part because of etc. But the point you're trying to make in regards to her not speaking to the doctors is made with those 2 texts. Her response and his request. Whether he was successful or not is not the point of contention here. And see what the prosecution says and go from there. That's what I personally think. So maybe the defense could have handled that a bit better. I have no idea. But the way that they were asking the questions, there was no way to recross on this. because when these things come out, it should be recrossed. In my opinion, they should. But the way that they were asking, there was no recross. So going back to the um going back to redirect, says, all right, before we continue, I'm just going to give you two instructions concerning these text messages. The first one is that you could see in the text messages that there were certain parts of that were reducted out, and that's because there sometimes when the court has to rule, and some of the writings in the text messages are not relevant to anything that you have to consider here in court, and therefore I rule whatever is blacked out is not admissible in court because it's not relevant. So you could only consider what's actually in the text message and don't speculate as to what it is that I took out of those text messages. Also, again, I will give you the instruction that I gave the other day. You did hear about an incident between the parties that happened in September of 2022, and that evidence was not offered. And that evidence was not offered and must not be considered for the purpose of proving that the defendant had a propensity or a predisposition to commit the crime charged in this case. It was only offered for your consideration as background information. And if you find the evidence is believable, you may consider it for the limited purpose and go no further. So background information only, as Buzz was saying. I don't agree because, again, not the entirety. I agree. Okay, fine. If you are going to bring all this in, the first two exchanges what was enough. But my argument is very, I don't know what went on. So they could have made an argument, they could have lost it on before they came in. So I don't know. Ms. Jabbari, when you met with medical professionals on March 25th, did you know how you sustain your injuries? Yes. And in the car, you had mentioned that you weren't looking at the defendant when he caused some of the injuries. Correct. Was anyone else in the car? Jonathan, the driver. And what row was the driver in? He was directly in front of me. And what row, sorry, was the driver in? He was directly in front of me. And you know who caused your injuries on March 25th when the police arrived? I did, yes. And why did you say that you didn't know? I was, just scared of the consequences of it. Of what I would say, how that would affect. What do you mean? You were telling your friend Grace. What do you mean? Consequences. What can Grace? Sorry, no, not Grace. Sorry, Holly. Sidebar. What can Holly do? You were not planning to call the police. Okay, but going back, it's probably in context with the doctor. So it's probably in context with the doctor. But that just I was scared of consequences is the doctor, most likely the doctor. I just but she told Grace, I didn't know as well. I just want to put it out there. What do you mean by that? Still wanted to protect him, I guess. Scared. Do you know sitting here who caused your injuries on March 25th? Yes. Objection asked and answered. Yes, I do. Who is that? The defendant, Jonathan Majors. Nothing further. And Ms. Chaudhry, Your Honor, we don't have any more questions. Oh my God. Oh my God. You tell me they could have asked questions? So they did open the door. So the judge did actually open the door for her to do it. I don't know. But then again, like I said, the prosecution did not leave much room for them to even formulate a question, maybe. But they should have planned for this. I see what Nali, sidebar for a second. I see what Nali was saying. I really do. I see what Nali was saying in when she was here with us. I see what she was saying in regards to they didn't have a plan for this. I see what she was saying now, because it's kind of weird. I actually thought they were not allowed to actually recross, but if the judge opened the door for them to actually clean this up, then boy, forget the appeal. Then, yeah, can't say it wasn't fair. You were allowed. Maybe you can still argue it should not come in the first place. Maybe that weak foundation. Maybe you can still argue. I don't know. But if you were given a chance to clean it up and you didn't, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Absolutely sorry. Okay, so we're gonna get to the media coverage in a bit. So I'm gonna go straight into the into Ryan Strick's testimony. It was called by the prosecution. Ryan Strick is a data analyst for the NYPD. So we're gonna see what the fuss is about there, and then we're gonna conclude with the media coverage of this case and what they were reporting on the final day. So going into it, make sure you hit that like button as well, guys. Hit that like button. It will really help us with this stream, and the discovery rate of the stream. The algorithm monster has been eating the views. Please help us feed it by giving likes and sharing the stream. Please, that would keep it happy. Thank you so much. Technical goes by accident. Okay. All right. So the people now can call Ryan Strick, Your Honor. Thank you. Witness entering, raise your hand. Blah blah. Ryan Strick, Queens County. Okay, move on. Good afternoon, Mr. Strick. Do you do me a favor? Listen to the question. Speak. Okay. Basically, formalities. Go on. Please explain to members of the jury where you currently work. I work for the New York DA office. Oh, DA office, not in NYPD. Sorry about that. DA office. Okay, so what's your role between the DA office? I'm a digital evidence analyst. Okay, can you explain for the members of jury here what a digital analyst does? A digital analyst essentially creates exhibits for trial and grand jury purposes, such as video compilations, maps, and exhibits. Can you explain to the members of jury what if any programs you use to compile those kind of evidence? Sorry about that. Okay. We use basic programs such as Excel, PowerPoint, Word, and more advanced programs as Premiere Pro. I use Premiere Pro and RTS Pro. I don't know what that is. What, if any, experience or training have you had in these areas? So I've been trained at the New York County District Attorney's Office through the Crime Strategy Unit. This is for the various ADA training such as Premiere Pro, creating video compilations, Excel, getting a table, sorting, doing time conversations. I'm just gonna move on from this background. I think we have enough here. So did you have an opportunity to review the evidence with regard to this particular case? Yes, I did. We're going to start first. Did you have an opportunity to review an iCloud account? Yes. Okay. Can you explain for the members of the jury what, if anything, did you did in relation to that iCloud account? For the iCloud account, there are several cells. When a cell contains iMessage, they were stored in that inside the iCloud account. I then took the selected iMessages from the cells and then put them into a PowerPoint exhibit. Then I just exported these PowerPoint slides as individual pictures. From these pictures, it just looks like essentially a text message exhibit, as one would see on a standard smartphone, displaying communication between the iCloud account holder and the receiver. With regard to the records that you described, who was the account holder for the iCloud account? The defendant. So they did search the defendants. He didn't oppose. Well, I don't think he could oppose anyway, but they had his phone. Okay, and I'm holding in my hand what I've marked previously at People's Exhibit 4 for identification, shown to the defense. Blah blah. Mr. Strick, do you recognize I just handed to you? Yes. What do you recognize that to be? This is a USB that contains the photos of the iMessages that I described earlier. Are you familiar with the files that are on People's Exhibit? Galloway says. Perez says. Yes. Specifically, items 4A through 4K. Yes. Can you explain for the members of the jury how you were able to procure those specific data sets? So using the iCloud return from the cell containing iMessages, I then for very select messages put them into a PowerPoint, and then also change the time zone. iCloud return common Pacific time. I changed it to Eastern time, and I essentially just copied and pasted the body of the text message, and on the body added the time that each message was sent or received. So what is describing here is essentially this is what you get in those extraction reports. Cellbrite, ability for this. I think this is a different one. It could be Cellbrite, it could be all of them the same, but this is where you get the time zone differences when they modify. Say, like, let's say UTC -7, UTC -8. It's all Pacific Standard Time that they're using it for, basically. I like this because that's a lot of context I've been trying to understand when I was reading the Debt v. Heard um exhibits. And as part of the process that you just explained, are you able to identify who was the receiver and and or the sender of the message? Yes. Okay. And did you do so? And did you do so in this case? Yes. How did you designate? Practically speaking, but how did you designate it? Practically speaking, because you mentioned that you put it into a photo format. So essentially, I created this exhibit. It started out as a PowerPoint. So for each single text, every time a message is sent or received, there is one specific bubble that contains the body of the text. In smaller lettering is the time, and for each person, so a unique receiver, I then just display the messages chronologically. That's a hard word, or maybe I'm just thirsty. Chronologically. Okay, I can't say it. That's a hard word. Okay, that's the process you followed up. You follow 4A through 4K. Perez asked, yes. Did you in any way, shape, or form alter the substance of the text messages in people's 4A to 4K? No. Are these fair and accurate depictions of messages that were able to obtain from the dependent's iCloud account? Yes, Your Honor. The people move exhibits 4A to 4K to evidence. First of all, have you seen them? And do you have any objection to videos or comment replies? We've seen them, no objection. So they moved into exhibit. Now, Mr. Strick, you mentioned earlier when you are talking about your experience that you also do video compilations. Yes. Can you explain for the members of the jury what a video compilation is? A video compilation is essentially taking raw surveillance footage. Yeah. Go. You understand that? Yep. Okay. Did you create the video compilation in this case? Yes. And what videos were withdrawn? Did you use the? Are you familiar with the videos of People's Exhibit 2? Yes. Okay. Have you had the opportunity to watch all of these videos? Yes. And you included some of the videos in your video compilation? Yes. Okay, and I'm handing you to exhibit marked. Okay, so anyway, you recognize the exhibit. What's behind to you as people exhibit 5? Yes. What do you recognize that to be? The USB containing the video compilation that I created. Can you explain for the members of the jury in this specific instance what you did to create a specific video compilation as to people's 5? So using the raw surveillance footage, I shortened the part of the footage to relevant portions, converted some of the portions, screen recorded some of the portions, sped up, slowed down, arrows zoomed in, etc. So you did alter. So why didn't they allow all of it in? So they did cut it up then, basically. They have the full one that would show adequately. So they basically what I'm reading here is the prosecution altered the video to at least give the best evidence for them to use to prove these charges. At least we know now it was cut. I wish the defense please release the full raw version, please. I'm begging you. Did you modify the substance of any videos that you included in the compilation? He says no, but he did. If you're making compilations and you're doing okay, modify is a different word. That's different. It's not alter. That's different. What I'm speaking of is an alteration. Modification would mean you go into the raw file and then you change the color, for example. That's modifying it. You change it from color to noir. Yeah, that'll be modifying it. You also added text, maybe. That'll be modifying it, I guess. Whatever you modify it. However, alterations could mean as you're making the compilation, you're grabbing different sections of the video. To me, this is not modification per se because you're not technically changing the substance. You're just choosing which parts to put in. So you're altering the final product basically because it's technically not consistent with the final product that you are about to present or that you're about to say, because again, it's a compilation of a raw footage. You're not giving the raw footage basically. It's not a full picture. What you're doing is, I got this part here. I've been instructed to cut this part from this part. Bang, cut it. Okay, put it in there. Cut this part from this part. Okay, cut it. Put it in here. Cut it. That's what we saw. So if you're doing that, you're altering it. You're not modifying it, but you're altering it. You had the opportunity to look. Obviously, you created it, but did you have an opportunity to watch People's Exhibit 5 before testifying here today? Yes. Is People's Exhibit 5 an accurate depiction of the video compilation that you created in relation to this case and from the videos that are in People's Exhibit 2? Yes. So they move into evidence. Yeah, they've seen it. There's no objection. Blah blah. Moving on. Good afternoon. Okay. So that was direct done cross examination. So let's see how Mr. Zuckerman done this cross, because I want to also comment on the legal representation. Maybe Mr. Zuckerman should have taken the case for Grace Jabbari. Who knows? But then again, he's a man cross-examining women, so maybe that was a more prudent strategy. Anyway, before going to the cross-examination, let me go one more to the chat sidebar. Oh, and it's Claiborne, sorry. Claiborne. I'm saying sidebar before. Anyway, and it's Claiborne. Thank you so much for this comments today as well. She wanted to hold on, but yes, to her backup plan was to destroy him. She started her gossip campaign with his manager and definitely was effective. I have to agree with this. Absolutely. I always try to look at the other side for a minute. If something was really going on, you said he was a perfect man. This was in the last stream, part 13. She said he was a perfect man to be with, all those things. Why would you tell? What were you telling? Again, remember, he had flown her friends over. She was not being isolated. That just reminded me. Let me get some pictures up. I'm gonna get some pictures up much later, because Grace Jabbari's Instagram has been invaded by the one and only Katt. Katt should be a detective. But I'm gonna get those pictures up after the cross exam and the redirect of what's his name, Ryan Strick. Okay, now the video compilation that you created in People's 5, not the entire video, is correct? Yes, exactly. I'm glad this was the first point of to attack. So, for example, Lucy's Nightclub, you were only asked to use a portion of Lucy's Nightclubs in your video compilation, correct? Yes. Who asked you to do that? Upon my review of the case file and comparing with it with the assistant DAs, and that's ADS Perez and Galloway, correct? Yes. So the videos that you included in your compilation were done at their request, correct? Yes. I didn't even know this. I never read this. I'm so happy that everything I said was bang on. I'm so happy. So the videos that you didn't include were also at their request, isn't that? I'm sorry. I'm really happy as well, because I've never been in this scenario. But I don't know. I'm just happy like that I got something right. Well, I mean, I have got I have got things right before, but it's always a surprise to me when, well, kind of surprised when I do. Well, I am bang on. If I do to my own horn, I already do that. So yeah. Anyway, yes. So the videos that you didn't include were also at their request, isn't that right? Yes. You're great. You also zoomed in on some of the videos, right? Played it faster speed. Is that right? Yes. Was that also at their request? Yes. Other times were just based on my knowledge of video compilations. You also slowed it down at certain points, correct? Yes. That was based on the request of ADA Perez and ADA Galloway. Yes, partially. There was a time where you replaced certain videos more than once. Isn't that correct? Yes. And that was at their request as well. Yes. Do you have any specific training regarding editing videos? I was trained within the New York District Attorney's Office. Anything outside of New York District Attorney's Office? No. So this guy is pretty much court-minded. Brainwashed. Okay. I'm joking. That's basically was being presented here. Anyway, and the videos that you included in your compilation video did not include Mr. Jabbari dancing in a nightclub, correct? Objection if he knows. It's not really speculation. It's what he saw. Do you know? I do not. And that was at the request of ADS purpose. Yes. Wait, let's go back to that. That's a bit confusing. And the videos that you included in your compilation did not include Ms. Jabbari dancing in a nightclub, correct? I do not. I do not know. And that was at the request. So the request did go through, but you don't know if paradox. I know a paradox. We need to get a paradox meter for future streams of this, because I need to. Anyway, moving on. Now you can explain for the members of the jury what the metadata is. So metadata is essentially, there's a file such as a photo, video, any media file. Essentially, metadata is the underlying data. So let's say one video is created, one is modified. Even things like if you're using a camera, what was the frame rate? So just the underlying data for any media file, essentially. Yes, and that's true what he said. The metadata file will include any markers of alterations or modifications. So sorry, no, it's better to use modifications. That word alteration is a bit of a different meaning. I believe alteration just means cutting. I think it means cutting, trimming. That's an alteration. Trimming, cutting. Yeah, anything to do with just not having the final product that you received from the jump. So that a compilation video is basically an alteration of the raw footage. That's basically it. That's basically it. But a modification, that's where you've changed the entire language of it. So even I'm not sure if modification falls under exporting a video, because if you export it, technically it would be modified because you're probably going for a lower quality. But I think it's more to do with the substance in regards to modification, because if you modify the colors, etc., you have changed the substance of the video because it didn't come to you originally like that. It wasn't black and white. It wasn't this and that. For example, it didn't have textures on it. It didn't have this extra audio that you put in that of someone. Maybe you put an audio in of someone saying, those stupid videos on Twitter. Those stupid videos on Twitter. Sidebar for a second. Those stupid videos on Twitter where they caption it saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe Hulk Hogan said this," and then you press it and there's a woman going, "Ah, ah." I hate those videos. I remember opening one, and I was on the train, but thank God it was headphones. I was like, "Yep, you're not getting me this time." But yeah, like that would be a modification because you have changed the original language of the video. If that, I think that's a correct way of wording it. So anyway, back to the redirect. The cross examination. So for example, if you have photos on someone's phone, they're indicating when that photo was taken, correct? Yes, that's metadata, correct? Yes. And also there's a location of where the photograph was taken, correct? Sometimes depending on the camera settings, but that would be considered metadata as well. Yes. And as part of your work and extraction in this case, you extracted items from Miss Major's iCloud. Is that right? Yes. And as part of that were photographs from March 25th, 2023. Is that right? Isn't that right? Yes. Were they present in the iCloud? Ryan Strick asked. Yes. Then yes. Well, he didn't say then. I'm just saying yes. Well, when you say that certain phones contain metadata and geolocations, can you explain what you mean by that? For newer iPhones or newer Androids, essentially, when you take a photo or videos, depending on the settings of the phone, it will automatically track the latitude and the longitude of the photo's location when that photo or video is taken. And the metadata actually shows which phone took this photograph. Isn't that right? Perez asked. It will say kind of facts about the phone. So if it's an iPhone 14, a Samsung Galaxy S8, things of that. And in the case, the photographs that you found from March 25th of 2023 indicated that it was an iPhone 14. Indicated that it was an iPhone 14. Isn't that correct? Yes, I believe so. Show the witness, blah, given the copy shown, identified, etc. Okay, so they're getting a series of 101 and made it into evidence to ask the questions as follows. Mr. Perez asks, Mr. Strick, have you had the opportunity to review that? Yes. And is the 5 page is it correct? Yes. This was the photograph that you retrieved from Mr. Major's iCloud account and the associated metadata regarding a photograph of from March 25th of 2023, correct? So upon my review of the iCloud, Ryan Strick says the photos were in Pacific time, so it's a bit confusing. My review said 11:03 Pacific time on the night before of March 24th. Yes. Wow. So that was 9 o'clock then Eastern time. That would be 9 o'clock Eastern time. Converting that would be March 25th at not backwards. Pacific time is backwards. My bad. Forward would be 2:03 correct Eastern time. Correct. Yeah. So that's 2:03 a.m. Yes. And this 5 page exhibit is a fair and accurate copy of photograph and metadata that you extracted from Mr. Major's iCloud account, correct? The day and time I didn't review, or I didn't see as much metadata listed on this report, but the day and time definitely match. And at this time, I moved this evidence, etc. So to people, they have it, so they're aware. This is most likely the bleeding, etc., that was brought in. So they did see it with Ryan Strick. If I could ask about the discrepancy, absolutely. Are you aware? If I could ask about this, Perez was allowed to ask about this discrepancy. To Ryan Strick. So Perez goes on to ask. Perez is the district attorneys or the prosecution in this case. You mentioned something about a discrepancy within the data. Can you explain that a little bit more? Yes, for all that want cloud imagery, based on my review of the search warrant, it should be in Pacific time. I also did not see geolocation as part of the photo when I reviewed it from the iCloud search warrant. So you're not familiar with which pages of the defense exhibit you're holding right now. I would say page 4, probably at least page 4. So you aren't able to say whether or not page 4 is an authentic copy of the data that was retrieved from the iCloud. Yes. So the people would object as to page 4. Yes. Zuckerman says, Mr. Strick, you were provided these photographs. Put them down, turn them over. Okay, so they did object. The jury didn't get to see it then. So they did object to the manager because he didn't see it. All right. Because he couldn't identify it. That's why it wasn't allowed for the jury to see the metadata part. But they saw. Okay. Yeah, they didn't allow to see the metadata part, but they saw the actual substance of the photo. My apologies, Judge. Okay, so you were provided these photographs yesterday to review in advance for your testimony, correct? Yes. And you reviewed it prior to coming in and testifying today, correct? Yes, I reviewed it, though directly from the iCloud. When you reviewed the photograph directly from the iCloud, they were associated with metadata, correct? Yes. And that included the time in which the photograph was taken, correct? Yes. And he had a map with a geolocation of where the photograph was taken. Is that correct? I don't recall a map, but it's definitely at the time. Would looking at the iCloud refresh your recollection as to whether or not there was a map associated with it? Yeah. One moment, you're not sure it was allowed. It's sure they're allowed to show. So they approached, Zuckerman approached, they talked about it. Okay. Judge says this could be important, so I'll read it. All right. So the people have raised an objection, and I'll sustain the objection as to DX. Okay. At this point, that will not be admitted into evidence, but DX 100 A, B, C will be moved into evidence and will receive it DX 100D. So most likely, this is when Jonathan was in the hotel. It's the metadata that was released to the to Business Insider by Mr. Zuckerman goes on to ask, and Mr. Strick, looking at DX 100, I believe you stated that you looking at it Eastern time, that the photograph was taken on March 25th, 2023, 2:03 a.m. Is correct? Yeah. And it was taken on an iPhone Pro 14, correct? Yes. Sorry, iPhone Pro 14? iPhone Pro Max 14. I'm sorry. Yes. Now, I would like to show the witness what we have previously marked for identification, DX101, blah, blah, so the connection. So it was Okay, so this is pretty important. I'll read it. Judge says, yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mr. Perez. Those last exhibits that were introduced into evidence, they're only going to come into evidence where you can see them. They are subject to connection, meaning we need another witness or stipulation in order to fully get those exhibits into evidence so that you can view them. So basically, it was not published to the jury, but they saw the communications or they saw questions around it. The X101 being shown to the witness for identification. Mrs. Strick, do you recognize that photograph and the associated pages with it? Yes. And are those photographs and associated media from the iCloud that you extracted belonging to Jonathan Majors? Yes. I still have the same issue though, where the data I retrieved in the iCloud is in Pacific time. This is in instant time. That is a weird technicality to rule this out on. Just the time difference, but you converted it. Moving on. So when the exhibit states it was taken on March 25th to 2:02:47, you saw it on the iCloud as March at 11:02 p.m. Yes. Other than that, is it a fair accurate copy of what you saw when extracted from Mr. Major's iCloud? Yes. Look, I'm sorry. Your incompetence does not mean you got to keep out evidence. If you don't recognize, if you know your software is set to default Pacific time, why would it matter that his phone was in Eastern time? Of course it'll be Eastern time. He lives in New York. Oh my god. If that's why, I hope that's not why it wasn't allowed in. Because I personally think, sidebar for a second, I personally think that it wasn't allowed in because of the geolocation question. I think if he doesn't see it as authentic because he didn't see it at the time and cannot say for sure that was there when he was doing the extraction, I can understand why that wouldn't come in. I can actually understand that, because in the sense you don't know if it was added in there by the defense. That could happen. Who knows? That could happen. And the reason why I know that could happen is because I've actually seen it on the Depp v. Heard, where they were doing a deposition of one of the therapists called Dr. Cohen. Dr. Cohen. And there were highlights on the therapist notes that Dr. Cohen was reading from, so etc. But when Depp's team decided to come into questioning Dr. Cohen, what they ended up doing was, okay, this original was sent to us. It didn't have no highlights, but this one does have highlights. And he says, okay, it's and then Dr. Cohen actually admitted, I can't remember verbatim for sure, but he did admit that it could have, caused memory. Sorry, he didn't admit that. Sorry, it was read for the record. Sorry, by the lawyer, that everything that Cohen had basically testified to should be stricken, because it's likely that it was misremembering or not remembering properly if these were not his highlights. So what that suggests was the defense, which would be Amber Heard in this case, had highlighted those and passed it off to him, and then he thought it was his own. So in that instance, you can understand why that would keep out a deposition, because all of his direct was based on these highlights. There were so many things in there. So if he wasn't allowed to testify, or that the deposition was not allowed to come in because the defense had put highlights on the original copy that had no highlights. Yeah. So the same thing here. I can see it as well. I can see it because the defense could have put the GPS location on there. I'm not saying they did. That's not what I'm saying. I'm using the example from Depp because they actually proved that that they actually modified this, But in this case, he doesn't know. So the judge most likely took a precautionary measure and be like, okay, let's not bring it in because he doesn't remember extracting this portion. I don't know. That's also what I want to say. hit the like button, folks, if you think that you're receiving a lot of value from this stream. I'm gonna go back to the cross exam, and yeah, of Ryan Strick. So it goes on to say, do you recognize all 5 pages that are in front of you? I don't remember or recall the GPS location as well, but everything else, yes. At this time, we withhold DX101D and only move into evidence in connection with DS101, subject connection, etc. All those things, blah blah. So again, D is still withheld. Sorry, Mr. Strick. This was also taken on with an iPhone 14 Pro Max, correct? Yes. And to confirm again, the day and time in Eastern time is 2:02:47. Yes, AM. Yes. Thank you, officer. And last, I would like to show the witness was been previously marked as DX102A. Mr. Strick, this is the 5 pages again. Correct? Yes. Do you recognize this to be the photograph and the associate made there from Mr. Major's iCloud that you extracted? Zuckerman asked. Strick answers yes. Is it true? Is it a true and accurate copy of the extraction you performed from Mr. Majors? I don't recognize all the metadata, but the photo is a fair, accurate depiction at the time. Now, when you said you don't recognize all the metadata, is that the same issue with it being in Pacific time versus Eastern time? Yes. That's your incompetence, mate. That has nothing to do with Majors. I don't. That's just incompetence. So when you saw this photograph, the mayor said March 6:19 a.m. Pacific, correct? Yes, and it's actually March 19. What's the error? You just couldn't. But you told us on your direct that this is on standard Pacific time. How is this any of their fault to keep this out? I also don't recognize, again, is the GPS is the GPS thing. It will be absurd for the judge to just rule it out just based on time. It'll be absurd. Other than that, is it a fair and accurate depiction of the photograph and associated metadata you extracted from Major's iCloud? I also don't recognize the GPS location as well. I will hold, they will hold connection, blah blah, same old thing. Moving on, Mr. Strick, this photograph was also taken on iPhone Max, correct? Yes. And it was taken Eastern time, 9:19 a.m., correct? Yes. Thank you, Mr. Strick. I have nothing further. Anything further? Nope, nothing further. Your excuse? Okay. Guys, Ketchup Court. It's we're gonna go to the closing statements now. Oh, I should really make that. I think Ketchup Court. I like that. You're witnessing the birth of branding, folks. but I'm gonna go to the media coverage, because before I do that, let me just go to the pictures that Katt has found of Grace Jabbari. This was at oh damn, I probably should have redacted it of some form. Okay, I'm gonna try and not show the identifiers so that just for their safety, of course. But this was the friends of I'm gonna go. This was for Glastonbury. So this was the friends of Grace Jabbari at Glastonbury. Look at her, so isolated, and Major's not happy with her going out and spending time with her friends. Oh wow, that is such an isolation. This is the guy that did come in. I think his name's Ollie. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure about his name, but basically, this was the guy that came in to testify and said that Grace has been shaken up, blah 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 blah. This was all of a. I like this guy's like, I don't want to be here. That guy out of everyone's smiling. He's like, he's putting a main mug. But anyway, for someone that was complaining about him, her being isolated in Glastonbury, etc., she looks. This wasn't look. She was like, hey, I got Majors. I'm how in Glastonbury. He paid for it, and these friends were with her for the Mariah Carey concert. This was another picture again. Again, this was her with her friends when she was. Oh, she had brunette. I wonder why she went blonde. But anyway, I believe this is Major's apartment. Again, Glastonbury, all Glastonbury. This is more like nighttime now. What isolation were you talking about? Because she did say, I went home after he told me he doesn't like me doing this. This is nighttime. She said it was afternoon when like near evening time, I believe, when she went to the gas station. What isolation are you talking about? So you just basically what you're saying is you're not basically there's two ways here. There's two things here. Let me see the other pictures. Okay, that's it. That's it. Okay. There's two things here. There's two possibilities. Either you were not scared of the guy and he told you to do he said everything, right? He said all those things. He told you to do this. You're not scared of the guy. You're like, okay, fine. Hung up the phone. Okay, friends party. Those are the two scenarios. That's scenario one. You didn't care. You just went out, party, done it, or whatever. Okay, so he told you that, right? Second scenario, it didn't happen. There was a phone call. Yes, I actually believe the phone call. If a phone call existed, some way or the other, she could not hear him because she's at Glastonbury. She couldn't make out what he was saying. I think this one is more plausible. But what she was describing to be abuse, he told me that he wasn't happy with all this. I don't believe that happened. And I don't believe she was living in fear with him because if she was living in fear with this guy, no way on hell would she want to piss him off when he comes back. This big black guy, by the way, who has hurt you before. You want to piss him off? Really? I don't know about that. You want to piss him off and say, okay. That's just insane to me. These pictures were taken and posted by your friends. You don't think abusers have ways to they will stalk you, fam? Abusers don't just stop at hitting. They will do everything to monitor your movements. We haven't seen anything like that with him anyway. There's no such thing as light abusers or heavy abusers. Abusers are abusers. They have their patterns. Consistent pattern is isolation. Consistent pattern is tracking your movements. Consistent pattern is controlling your movement because this is how it becomes easier for them to physically abuse you when the time comes in. At least from what I've learned. Again, no, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. It's just what I've studied. I could be wrong. I'm always open to be corrected. If I am wrong, please, anyone, let me know in the chat. If you are, if there's anyone that's watching this that does have an experience in this area, feel free to object. But I think what I've learned, what is consistent with abusers, they seek control first before they go into the physical abuse, at least. Because it's not gonna make much. It's not gonna be. They're smart, you know. Abusers are smart. It's not gonna make much sense for them to be like, "I'm gonna hit you the first time I have ever met you," and then because that's not gonna make you stay and not tell your friends. They want to make sure that all these parts are covered, so that when they do escalate the violence after the physical one, after the psychological one has been tormented, the emotional one has been hidden. Maybe there's intervention, I don't know. Whatever that has happened mentally first before the physical comes in, they have to make sure that you are fully controlled first, fully subservient, so that when they do inflict the physical abuse, there is no way for you to seek help or do anything like that because they will use every other tactic to keep you not triangulated. I don't think that's the right word, but keep you in control. Right. So in regards to the media coverage of this, I think it was deplorable because I think it was deplorable. However, on the 8th, and I'm going to go look for, I did not have prepared article ready for this, Jonathan Majors, because on the 8th, when the testimony was given in regards to Grace Jabbari, they were reporting some did report in regards to what she said in regards to the police. I'm just trying to get a few articles because I do remember some. I'm just tracking it down now. But they did report in regards to the police, in regards to what she said to the police and the fact that she was trying to protect him. Right. This was the reporting here when the text messages. Okay, let me share that. This was the reporting here when the text messages had dropped People Magazine. I'm not going to use People Magazine too much, but they were the one that says it appears to admit. So they close themselves off from litigation by saying, that's when the text messages were going in. So they open themselves up to, so they close and say, okay, it appears, we think. So it's based on an opinion, and they are protecting protective Vanity Fair responded of it. But I want to go to Courthouse News because they are supposed to be Associated Press. Or actually, no, let me actually go to Associated Press and see what they reported. Because I do think we have seen it. They did not report in regards to the in regards to, what is it called? Damn it. We saw it in regards to the cross exam. We saw they only reported what happened to the club and Grace being thinking of just the infidelity, and that's why she went to the club. They basically were her defenders to the masses. Like, okay, well, if you saw her going to the club, if you saw all of that back in April, the reason why was she was trying to get her mind off what happened that night. That's what they were trying to say. But we know that was not the case, and the characterization in regards to the club and what she was saying, the testimony offered in regards to the club, is regarding the finger injury, nothing to do with why she was there. The defense never asked that question. Why were you at the club? They never asked it. She was the one that was saying, I wasn't focused on the pain because I wanted to, but they didn't quote the pain or all those things. We discussed this on part 12 of the stream. So this is Associated Press. So they did their headline is a bit different. See, I just want to say I'm not against the press. I think that they are needed, but I am against bias reporting. Jonathan Majors begged accuser to avoid hospital warning of possible investigation Mrs. Show. I think that's a fair title because that is what happened. But with everyone else saying, "Oh, he admitted to violence," Associated Press is basically saying that's not. It's just saying you go on to read, etc. They're just quoting exactly what's being reported, but no, not many people read this part anyway. At least. Yeah, the line of questioning may have backfired in an unexpected edition because it was unexpected. I still think it's a weak foundation. If you know the context that we know, if anyone reported the context, because they don't respond to context. Prosecutors have said Majors exhibited a cruel pattern of abuse, culminating with a backseat conversation in which he struck her in the side of her arm, twisted her arm behind her back, and broke her middle finger. Majors' attorney maintained Jabbari was the instigator of the struggle. Okay. During 7 days of the grueling questioning this week, the defense pressed about the videos showing her partying, about the aftermath of the alleged assault. At least that's at least bit accurate, as well as the vague statements about her injuries she gave to the police and money for. No, that's wrong already. There was no vagueness. She told the police what happened. We read it, but the medical professionals, I actually do agree with this one. Maybe you can say she was being vague there, but when she was filling out that form that was being brought out in the transcript, and I wish they could have reported this part, she actually did write the contents of what happened the night previously. So it wasn't to protect him. In regards to the police, the doctors, different. But they knew. She knew. I wish they report in here because it was literally established. Guys, you would check me if I'm wrong. You guys have done it in previous streams. She correct me if I'm wrong. She admitted that she knew he was arrested at this point when she was in the hospital. Why do you think the text messages happened? Why do you think like there's proof of this? That line of questioning may have backfired, etc. Blah blah. Later in the conversation, Mr. Barry rejecting his love, blah blah. So everything is accurate there, but without the context that we do know, even Associated Press is not being forthcoming. And again, we done an interview with Megan Fox, who is an investigative journalist for PJ Media, award-winning journalist. She's very good at this, and she dissected that it's more narrative driven now. The press, more narrative. Mainstream media is more narrative driven now. Associated Press is meant to be unbiased. So for me not to find a lot of the substance that we read in these articles from them is honestly appalling. In my honest opinion, it's appalling. Let me see if Courthouse News at least report it. So we can see the slants and the differences. So no, Courthouse News did not report it. Okay, yes, they did report it. Sorry, they did report it. Again, this is all redirect. This is all redirect. So they were there to see everything in context to what we read. So this is Courthouse News. They were there, and it was by Josh Russell. I do believe Josh Russell was a bit more objective in this, but reading this, not to get medical attention, blah blah. The court, the undiscussed messages we read in the criminal court show that May just warned his girlfriend, blah blah. From an unidentified episode in England, September, separate from March 23. I'm really. This is what I'm trying to say. At least this one, Courthouse News, I do use them. If I want to track down any news in regards to cases, I do actually use them because they are they're less narrative driven. While Manhattan prosecutors claim that the 34, we don't need that part. The unsealed text message referred to a separate and uncharged incident because a lot of people thought this was the same incident in March 25th. Nope, it wasn't. So this was probably going back to people because they didn't make that clear right here. Okay, so sorry, they did. Jabbari on the 30th or in September 2022. So people did. Associated Press did differentiated as well, and Courthouse News differentiated as well. So this is people's biases. People are gonna be stupid if people actually did see all these headlines and assumed it's from the same incident. You can't help some people because I can't even hold the papers at fault. They actually did say it was on a different date. If people are gonna be like that, then everyone needs to read rather than just read headlines. Did the defendant try to dissuade? Yeah, okay, they do that. Yes, blah blah. This is the part here. Manhattan Supreme Court Michael Gaffey blocked prosecutors from showing the jury's text messages earlier in trial, but after cross-examination defense this week, he found Jabbari's credibility had been impugned and allowed the redirect television of the text exchange with parts redacted to enter into evidence. In a Texas of the morning, blah blah. That's sorry, blah blah. We already know this. Majors, who is black, pleaded with his then girlfriend, a white woman, from not to invite scrutiny from the relationship. Okay, I don't hate it. I think it's a a good point to bring up later. Illustrated feelings of suicidation and recounted earlier in which Jabbari recounted earlier in the testimony, etc. In the direct testimony. While Judge Gaffey strictly prohibited Jabbari strictly prohibited from testifying to any details of the underlying incidents that immediately precipitated the March 22 text messages. You mean March 23? What are you talking about? While Judge Gaffey strictly prohibited Jabbari from testifying any details of the underlying incident that immediately precipitated the March 22. It wasn't even March 2022. It was September. Test messages that Jabbari previously certified earlier that week may just have fumed her at a deforming of drinking. That wasn't even March. That wasn't March. That was September. That was September 19th. Wow. Guys, come on, man. Oh. I read you guys, man. The woman that supports me, we know this already. That's actually embarrassing. March 22. Right. So let me bring a bit of clarity to all of this. In all the things that we've read, and gone through in this stream, because this is now the last episode, one thing is for certain: the context in which of Sag Harbor, where Grace Jabbari grabbed the alcohol after Jonathan had told her, "Do not plan your life around my schedule." To me, this is showing at least someone that wanted to be too involved in his life, wanted something more. We don't know. That was May 2022, because they met in 2021. They started dating, so that was May in 2022. We don't know if they were together officially at that point. I would like to believe they were, but Grace said they were together for 2 years, 2021. So how serious they were, maybe Jonathan was not, again speculation, maybe Jonathan was not really welcoming. Let me know in the chat what you think about it, about this. But maybe Jonathan was not welcoming into his life, sorry, and was doing his best to keep her away from it. And again, I still believe, and I still hold the view that this was just a toxic relationship. That's all this was. All this that's coming out, we don't have contextual information to definitively prove that this guy was abusive. I don't blame anyone for making any inferences that they want to make. I actually don't. Everyone is welcome to speculate, but looking at the facts presented in front of me, I'm just seeing toxicity, even with the context of September 22nd, because I don't accept that Grace was this fragile certain person when I'm looking at the other side of it and I'm seeing what he was doing. He was not even trying to keep her isolated from her friends. It came out in cross, and she accepted that he paid for her to go to see concerts with her friends. You don't do this. Yeah, you do your best to at least keep them apart. Grace describes him as a perfect man, etc., which was destroyed. That illusion was destroyed, obviously, by the fact that he had cheated, which makes sense to all the argument. It makes sense. Everything that the defense brought out makes sense to why she would act that way based on the background. Which is why I don't think it was abusive. I just think it was toxic, and they go into a lot of incidents. How serious were these incidents and who was the aggressor? I don't know. I need to track down this UK case because, again, it's unconfirmed. I think it was just speculative at the time I heard it, but I did see some tweets. That's what I mean by heard. That it was Jonathan that called the police there as well. Again, it's unconfirmed. I have no way to prove that. So take it with a massive grain of salt. I have no way to prove that. So if I find anything, I would but I'm looking for everywhere in regards to this UK case. I have no idea. I just think it was a toxic relationship. I don't know what Grace was doing that she would need to go to hospital for. I don't know what happened that would need to do that. People can enjoy your inferences. If you have your biases, yeah, but I don't like to. I like to keep my bias way down, way down. I like to do that and operate with the facts. And my head, he's telling me you wouldn't be wrong if you want to say he was abusive. You wouldn't be wrong, but then I would be, because that would mean I'm negating. So I'm having two minds basically. I'm having the devil on my shoulder, the angel on my shoulder. But I know conclusively that these are not the markers that the abuser have. It's just it doesn't sit well in my head that I'm reading this and I'm seeing, okay, he's doing these things, and I'm like, okay, where's the control aspect? I mean, you can do nice things to control someone. That actually is possible. But he's doing these things deep into the relationship. I'm talking March 2000. This is after a year and a half. Usually, they do these things at the start. You don't buy Mariah Carey concerts to your friends of the person that you're abusing deep into the relationship. That's just not consistent with the literature I've read. It doesn't make sense. You do that to love bomb at the start. That's what I've read. So I'll be going crazy if I think, yeah, he's an abuser. Yeah, factually, he did this for our friend. No, they aim to do all these things at the start. Then at this point, usually at this point, they isolate. That's the pattern. You can't tell me that Majors is a special abuser that just breaks all codes and does all these generous things in the middle of the race. That doesn't make sense. Doesn't work like that. It's not blue moons. I'm sorry, but I just thought I'd say that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Replay crew, if you're watching this back, hi to all of you. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section as well. I'm just gonna close out on this because I'm so glad I read all of this, because my opinions of the case has not changed. I still believe this was a massive miscarriage of justice because they did not meet the reasonable doubt bar at all. So no matter what the facts of the case, no matter which way you're viewing, legally, I don't believe they met the bar here. But should this case be tried in a domestic violence settings where a lot more evidence can come in so we can see the full picture? Absolutely. Maybe it should be. Based on what I read, I would like to see the full picture. Is it gonna happen? Likely not. Double jeopardy. I don't know. Cultural stuff. I don't know. Whatever legals will stop it from happening. But whatever I can find in regards to this case, because they were dating from August 2021 to March 2023. So again, it's just not consistent. These behaviors are just not consistent of someone that is an abuser. Like the cheating part, sorry. Again, say what you want about it. I don't agree with it personally. I must put it out there before saying this part. Cheating is not abusive. I am sorry. I will never agree with you on that. And I haven't found anything that supports that, because cheating is, you don't cheat on your partner to psychologically abuse them. I'm sorry. They are things that you do solely for your partner. If you were to say cheating is abusive, then women that cheat are being psychologically abusive to their partners. Are saying, oh, well, I cheated because you did. No. The act is done. That cannot, like, maybe you can, I don't even think you can even use that argument to say, oh, because she said, or because he said, I cheated because you made me do this, etc. I still don't think that constitutes as abuse, because again, cheating is not abuse. Cheating is just infidelity, is adultery, etc. Not abusive. Adultery is not abusive. In fact, adultery is probably the one thing that will wake you up from abuse. If you choose to stay, if you choose to stay in the midst of adultery, that's on you. That's actually on you. But it's not abusive inherently. What is abusive is you can't go to see your parents, or I'm gonna kill myself. That's abusive. Oh, you can't go to see your friends. I thought you love me. That's psychology abusive. It's anything to do without a third party, in my opinion. My opinion. Not a doctor or anything like that. My opinion. Anything that doesn't involve bringing a third party into it, like like in terms of the cheating. Mm-mm. I know they're trying to argue for triangulation and all that. No, cheating is different. I would never agree with that. That's not abusive. If someone chooses to cheat, that is actually a way out for you. Like, it wakes you up. Usually it should, but it depends, because sometimes you can use your feelings to say, oh, but I love him, he was this, he was that. Some people can make an argument. I don't think cheating is abusive. I don't think so. Does that mean I think cheating is okay? No, I have to say that again. No, I don't. But I don't think it's by letter of it, it's not abusive. Because again, it's just a break of contract, in my opinion. Anyway, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. I shall keep hold of the communities tab. If I have any updates in regards to this case, I'll be communicating there. If there are any more cases that I'll be covering on the channel, I'll also be communicating there. The Coney Clenny case that I'll be covering is also happening on pretty soon. It's gonna go to trial pretty soon. So watch out for updates on that. Make sure you tune into our talk show called Two Guys, a Girl, and the Tea, where we discuss current events. And the episode 8 is the one about brand, or the one with the branding. And we're basically going to discuss Russell Brand and those cases, why they've down the future of Me Too, all of those things in one. Activism and its effects on society now, years after the Harvey Weinstein. All of those things shall be explored in this talk show, where we use real life examples to discuss a lot of the things that are not discussed when that particular incident was being had in the larger media. So take care of yourself. Have a great evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm just gonna read the final chat here that's been brought in by Blue Queen TV. Thank you so much for this chat. It says, I think the lying to cheat is, but not cheating. I can see the argument. Look, I can see the arguments in regards to, it was your fault that I cheated, or I'm going to the store and then you're going to someone to bone someone and down. I don't think the lying is strong enough, but I do think turning your bad behavior on them could be seen as psychological abuse. Cheating inherently, no. But if you then turn around and say, oh, sure, I can see a plausible argument there, because that's verbal, that's psychological abuse. That's Darvo, basically. I didn't do anything wrong. You made me do it. That's Darvo. So I can see that as, yeah, but it's not the cheating though. Is the action. Is the particular action here where you are being accused, oh, I saw you cheat. He's like, yeah, but you made me do it. What? Yeah, that would be psychological abuse, because at one point, yeah, you're like, because at a point you're like, well, maybe it is my fault. I should have been more loving. That's psychological abuse, though, which is why I said cheating is not psychological abuse. Because if he said, what if the person says, he or she, what if they say, I'm right, oh, you're right, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have cheated, blah, then what? Is it still abuse then? You see what I mean? No, it wouldn't be abuse. The cheating in of itself is not abusive. No. Oh no. But yeah, if you were to, yeah, so that's the nuance there, and I'm glad you brought out Blue Queen, because it did make me clarify a bit more of what I was saying. But yeah, 100%. There is no way you can classify it as cheating. It's like, oh, I'm sorry for cheating. I'm sorry, because at one point you now have to be like, okay, you said sorry 5 times now. I'm gonna go. Is the other, like, cheating in itself? No, never gonna be abusive. People try to argue it. No, but if you try to approach the person and be like, you cheated, and then they flip it back on you, yep, that's Darvo. Oh, you hit me. No, you made me hit you. Or you did this. Or no, you made me do this. We know that the physical abuse is the hitting, obviously. So that part happened, yeah. But the psychological abuse is the fact that he's throwing it back at them, saying it's your fault. So those are two components. However, what I'm trying to say is that cheating in of itself is not abusive. You're not doing it to the person. No, you're not. You're not. There is no. If the person does not discover, there is nothing. How can you compare that to psychological abuse? How can you compare that to physical abuse? You know what I mean? That doesn't exist. That doesn't make sense. You hit someone, it happened. They know it happened because you hit them. You psychologically abuse someone, it happened because you did it. Like, oh, it's your fault that everything is going bad. You put an insorbent amount of blame attached to them, shame, all those things on them, where it doesn't require that. These are all psychological abuse that is hard to pinpoint, but it's much easier to make my point to say physical abuse, because physical abuse, you hit someone, that happened, they can see it. By you telling them that no, you made me do it, you are also gaslighting them and making them think that it's their fault that they got hit. That's psychological abuse on top of emotion, on top of physical abuse. You see the difference. But you cheat on someone and they don't know about it at all. No, that can never be abuse. Can never be abuse. But anyway, I'm gonna close down that. Thank you so much, Blue Queen TV. And thank you so much, Ernest, for tuning in and using the chat. Sheed as well. I appreciate you, Daisy Bow, Solo Dove. I appreciate every single one of you that tuned in, and also Magically Malicious tuned in earlier as well. Thank you so much, every single one of you, for being part of this series. I'm glad that you guys have heard my insights and still want to hear me speak, because sometimes I think my voice is cringe sometimes. But I'm really happy to get this series done and out of the way, and I'm really happy that you guys have rocked with me for this specific series. This one is closed for now. If there's anything new coming up, I will put it in a video form, and I will update you guys in the community notes. So do watch out for that. Do watch those community notes. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe so that you can be notified when I do make community notes, because unfortunately, if you're not a subscriber, it might be hard. I'm not sure how YouTube works nowadays. It might be hard for you to see those updates. I'm not sure if you need subscribers or if you see their community notes. If you see someone's community notes without being subscribed to them, but just watch their videos. I don't know how it works, but but to be sure, just hit the subscribe button, so that you can see a lot of the content that we're doing on this channel. We've got a lot of content. Make sure you check out Dev Be Heard part 2C. That is out now on the channel. It's a massive deep dive, massive documentary that I've done with a lot of industry professionals. I even spoke to trauma surgeons. I even spoke to alcohol nurse, an alcohol nurse that was that explained what had occurred with JD, and I've spoken to investigative journalists in regards to this case and the media reporting. That is Megan Fox that I spoke to, as well as a correspondent who also gave her insight about how the media has limitations in regards to how they can print it out, on how they can write and make it readable and make it condensed into like 5 minutes, etc. So the deep dive goes into all the evidence that you may not have seen, all the news reports at the time. That's all that's for. Go check it out, part 2C. Thank you so much for everyone again for tuning in. The interviews are also out now on my channel. Again, take care of yourself. Love you all for rocking with me. Have a great evening or day wherever you're at. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.